the final month, hoping for some surprises tonight. Cat dance.
Good morning, everyone. I hope we're doing well. Today we're having a bit of an impromptu Friday stream for the Xbox Developer Direct. Once it begins, we're gonna start watching together, which is in about 10 minutes. And then once the main Developer Direct is over, we're going to watch the Diablo Developer Direct that happened a couple of hours ago. It was on a little too early for me, so we're gonna catch up with that straight after and hear about the new season as well. So stream probably gonna be probably about 2 to 3 hours today. A bit of a half short stream, but should be fun. We can hang out and chill and chat. It's gonna be good. Yes, so a few things happening as well, just before we dive into things. So today, it's probably not going to be an issue. I'm just paranoid about it. So I mentioned on Discord, these watch party streams do tend to get demonetized, especially on YouTube. So today, if you can direct your support towards Twitch and Ko-fi just to be safe, that would be preferable in terms of any tips, cheers, etc., supers. Twitch is going to be better for that today, just in case, because I'm still kind of working out how everything happens on the YouTube. And just before we went live now, the Streamer Wars watch party got hit by like 3 different copy things. No official strikes, but it was just like, we're going to take your ad money. Ha ha ha. And we're blocking it in Russia, which was really random. So that can happen on YouTube with these watch party streams. Xbox do their best to prevent that, but obviously with the trailers and music used in trailers, they can't really do much there, sadly. Yeah. What a racket, I know. So yeah, just for today. But thank you, speaking to Captain 2, thank you, Captain 2. I believe you were the first to contribute towards the Shadowheart cosplay goal that we have right now. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it's over here. It's here. It's that. That is it. That is the goal for the Shadowheart cosplay over here. Any tips through Ko-fi this month, next month, go towards that and getting that all set up. Hell, I'm so excited to see that too. Yeah, oh my goodness, to finally see some gameplay from Indiana Jones is going to be fantastic, because we've been hearing about it for ages, but we have seen nothing. And today we're probably going to see something, so that's going to be great. We had Schmite so resubscribe at tier 2 for 50 months today. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. We also had Ellie with the tier 3 for 32 months there. My goodness, time flies. Thank you so much. We also had Ward over on YouTube gift a sub to Gareth there. Welcome to the family, Gareth, and thank you so much, Ward, for that gift sub. I appreciate it. Well, gift membership. The terminology is different, and it's hard. Why couldn't it just be the same? So over on Twitch, we've got the lovely Avige, Ogre, Cream, Schmite, Pixel, Mosby, Ogre. We got Sir Hannah. Hi. Oh my goodness, it's lovely to see you. I hate that our time zones are like complete opposite. It's so hard for us to catch each other. Hi, Nova. We've also got Slash, of course, Ellie, and Mog there. Over on the YouTube, we got Divette, we got Avige, Dark, Smokey, Ward, Essie. Oh, the Xbox chat will be gone as soon as, I can't make it full screen until it goes live. For some reason, so that's why. We got Lunar, Smokey, and Slash there. Thank you so much. It was two countries, Smokey, Belarus and Russia. Now those were on the block list. I don't know why. Something to do with the music that was copyrighted. But I haven't had the chance to check if they were legitimate or not. They all kind of hit on the same day, which was weird. But apparently I can just mute it, so it let me because the stream was short enough. So I might be able to leave the VOD up and just mute those sections. Oh my goodness, Ellie! Thank you so much for the Ko-fi sub. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the $30 there. That is very kind of you. Thank you so much towards Lady Shadowheart there, God's favorite princess. Thank you so much. We also had a lot of support for the Karlach cosplay idea, so likely after Shadowheart, we're gonna do Karlach. Thankfully, because we got Dark Urge, No Resist, plus Shadowheart first, that's gonna give me a lot of time to practice the makeup for Karlach and see what I can do there. For that, but I really do want to do, I really want to do a Shadowheart playthrough because her origin story seems pretty good, and it seems like there's a lot of extra goodies for her. So no, the horns are the easy part. The body paint is another story. So yeah, with Karlach, it's the hair and the body paint. That's the hard part. You're usually in bed. Oh, but it's lovely to be able to make. It's lovely to have you here. Oh my goodness. Is there anything you're excited to see in the direct today, Hannah? Just for future reference, yeah. Oh, I know. I know. I see. It's just we're just waiting for it to start right now, so. And it's pretty. The chat's pretty tame right now. It's just people screaming game names at the moment. Someone's asking about GTA. I'd be surprised if that's in there. It seems like... I don't think they usually advertise at these things, but you never know. What I'm most looking forward to seeing is Avowed. And anything Fable-esque, though it looks like it's mostly going to be Avowed in terms of the RPG side. Avowed is something we are planning on playing this year. And we'll see how the Indiana Jones game is, too. Curious if it's going to be Tomb Raider-esque or not. Like, when I think of Indiana Jones, I think of, like, that kind of game. You know, like, puzzle adventure sort of thing. But we'll see. Hey, Ogre. You want to know about, are they saying anything about Fallout and Starfield? Did they mention they would? I know they've got the ESO Direct, which is after this. They had Diablo earlier, which we're going to check out later. It got pretty spicy in the ESO Discord reveal chat earlier. Godspeed to the ZeniMax moderators. Their reveals get pretty crazy. They usually get a lot of people coming in to watch those. I don't know if we're playing it yet. We haven't confirmed whether or not we're playing it yet, but those kind of jackets are expensive. So what might seem like a simple cosplay is actually quite expensive. Indiana Jones ain't cheap. Though speaking of that kind of game, we're probably going to do Tomb Raider 3 next month at some point for the remaster. That's kind of in the plan. Okay, so that's gonna be about 2 minutes, I think, and then we should be able to start watching together. Premieres in 60 seconds, so that means we've got time for some ASMR can opening before we start today. Here we go. Also, I think right now it is neck and neck between Wednesdays after Cyberpunk being Astarion or Dark Urge. So it might be down to me to decide. Lovely bubbles. But thank you to everyone who voted in the polls. yesterday. You can still vote in them. They're not closed or anything on the Discord announcement. So if you would like to, feel free to, just to get your feedback in. If you want to see the Karlach cosplay, you can vote for that. If you would like to see, you can also vote for what you'd like to see on Wednesdays as well. As we will be finishing Cyberpunk soon. It is, hang on, sorry, I'm just messing with the subtitles there, trying to get them at the bottom. There we go. Because, yeah, next week is likely going to be when we finish that, I think. Because we've already done the bad ending, and now we want to get the good ending. So that's kind of the plan there. Oh, here we go. All right, we can go full screen now. I'm going to set it to... The stream's only 1080, so... Let's go! Yeah! Yeah, there's a poll in the Discord for that right now, yeah, if people would like to see it. So, that would be after Shadowheart and Dark Urge No Resist cosplay. Gives me a little bit of time to practice the makeup and stuff. It's gonna be a lot of body paint, that. But, I think I can do it, yeah. I think if I can find a good base wig for her, we are sorted, because I learned a lot doing the Astarion cosplay, and his hair, far more complicated than hers. Wicked sunburn, that would be very unhealthy and not recommended. Avowed all the way. Yeah, I'm very, very excited to see more of Avowed. You know me, I love my medieval RPGs. I'm hoping it's it looks like it's gonna be a medieval RPG. I guess we're gonna find out. We didn't really see much of it. Let me make sure there we go. Let me know if the sound's good or bad. Oh, there was some pistols. If you work from home or ride a scooter in the hallways. It does overwhelm me a bit. The sound? Huh? Sorry? Are you saying the sound is bad, or... I'm not entirely sure what you're trying to say, Schmite, sorry. You totally forgot to message about the tacky glue to hold the wig hair in place. It's something you're going to try the next time you do a plushie with realistic hair. Tacky glue? There are a few different types of glue. There's like
Welcome to Obsidian Entertainment.
Peely sort
I'm
of
so
glue
proud to share with you our upcoming
or,
fantasy action RPG,
the stickier
Avowed.
kind that's usually a little
Avowed is an
annoying to
adventure
work
into
with,
the heart of the living lands, a frontier
for
at the edge of the known world, where you must put a stop to a mysterious spiritual plague and discover a secret at the heart of the living lands.
Why is it in Arabic?
At Obsidian, we love creating worlds with deep themes, dynamic gameplay, and thoughtful reactivity.
Yeah.
And Avowed is no different.
I was looking at them thinking that.
We set out to blend the believable and fantastical to give players a world and experience like no other. It's colorful, it's vibrant, it's strange. It's one of the most incredible settings in the world of Aora. There's going to be a lot of great secrets to discover, one of which has a really personal connection to you as the player character, and you're going to have a great time getting to know those secrets and leaving your mark on the world. And when it comes to encounters, our combat brings the best of the moment-to-moment fun that comes with action-oriented gameplay and the depth and breadth of choice that you get with an RPG. Here to talk more about Avowed's combat is Gabriel Paramo, gameplay director.
Pistols, swords,
Here at Obsidian,
wands.
our team's overarching goal is to empower you with choice. So we developed a flexible combat system that allows you to quickly swap from spellcasting and sharpshooting to melee combat.
Hey, Brian.
We want to give you the freedom to mix and match your loadout to fit the way you want to play from moment to moment, uninterrupted. For all battles, you can combine a variety of weapons, attacks, and abilities for tactical advantages against a wide range of enemy types. It's not just hacking and slashing. you're making real-time decisions about when to use your abilities, powerful melee attacks, blocks, parries, and special attacks. If you choose to approach combat with the one-handed wand, it feels quick and snappy when dealing damage to enemies at mid-range. Using the Tanglefoot ability, you can stop enemies in their tracks, giving you the opportunity to focus on weaker or tougher combatants in an intentional and controlled manner. It's important to pay attention to the types of enemies you're dealing with. Some units are extremely defensive, some are brutishly difficult, and others you must make sure you prioritize, or their healing capabilities will put you in a tough spot. To help with the different encounters you will face, we provide customizable loadouts that can be quickly switched during combat. That means you can play however you want. Equip a sword and shield and charge into battle.
I don't know much about that.
Dual-wield pistols and control the encounter mid-range. Or even dual-wield wands to feel like a gunslinging mage. You could use your enchanted wand to freeze enemies, and then use your offhand weapon's power attack to shatter them. We've worked hard to keep you constantly engaged as battles unfold by creating a balance between pressure and manageability during combat.
Players will have ample choices for how to build and progress their envoy in the world of the living lands as they get to know the game and the story and explore the many diverse regions. Some quests in Avowed will have you make difficult decisions with profound consequences, like this side quest you may encounter in Shatterscarp, the third region you'll explore on your journey through the living lands. As you're exploring, you come across the bodies of these fallen soldiers, and as you explore the remains of the battle, it's up to you to determine who, if anyone, is at fault.
Just the four of us. Manu, Kiri, Naoki, and me. Training under Captain Ruiki, trying to keep Thirdborn safe.
In other words, you're a gang of vigilantes. Not that I'm one to judge.
Here, take my badge. Take everyone.
The camera looks a little bit like
our families deserve to know
an interview in a documentary and not talking
Making
to an
the right
NPC.
choice isn't always what it seems.
Maybe it was just the
embrace
angle.
more nuance and gray areas, trusting players to make tough decisions in complicated situations.
They did look like kobolds.
My squad and I rested in the cave by the water last night, and as we were sleeping, we were ambushed by those miserable Zorips. I was so surprised, and it was so dark. I just got separated from everyone else. Look, I can't face those monsters alone, but I have to know if anyone else made it out. Of course he did. Sergeant Asui never has a thought he won't say out loud.
Is he talking to the NPC, or is he doing
So
a
what did he
TV
tell you?
interview?
That Captain Ruiki was sick? That I was paranoid? That I was a dumb baby? I heard it all often and loudly. Wait, if you found Sergeant Asui, why is he not here with you? What happened?
At the end of the quest, you have a choice. When you confront Private Naoki, if you believe the story he's told you, you can hand over the badges and let him go back home.
You're right. Real battle isn't something you can prepare for, is it? It's not
Told
my
them
fault.
don't look at the camera. Yeah,
No,
it's...
Because
like in Baldur's Gate, they're not really looking at you, but you know they're looking at the character.
I'm going back to Thirdborn.
You know,
but if you confront him, if you believe that he fled the site of the battle as an act of cowardice, then he might challenge you to a fight to reclaim his honor. Either way, when you return to town, you'll see the consequences of your actions and the choices you made during this quest. Creating an immersive experience like Avowed is anchored in the world we build. Art director Matt Hansen and the team have worked to create a unique, colorful, and dynamic visual style.
From the outset, we knew that we wanted Avowed setting to feel rich, weird, and wonderful. We found inspiration in a wide swath of real-world cultures, helping us create a unique RPG experience.
Yeah, that threw me off a bit.
By contrasting the vibrant with the dull, or verdant spaces with sickly ones, we can better deliver complex emotional experiences for our players.
They look directly. I don't remember being
the living lands is a continent of untamed valleys with widely varied biomes, from luxuriant forests to volcanic wastes. And each of those regions itself is a conflux of storied landscapes. All of the regions have a lot of special things associated with them, but I have a deep place in my heart for Shatterscarp. As you're wandering the wastes of Shatterscarp, you might notice off in the distance a vibrant jewel of color. By transitioning from destitute, muted tones of a wasteland of sand and marching in towards a beautiful oasis, there's the opportunity there for life, for adventure, and even a little danger.
For the color.
We hope you've enjoyed this look at Avowed. We're thrilled to share more about the game in the coming months, and we can't wait for you to explore the Living Lands when Avowed launches this fall.
Right, for the second half of the year, we got that scheduled for. This was Avowed, the Obsidian RPG, based on the Pillars universe canon. Maybe it was because the players interviewing them. It could have been purposeful. I'm hoping it was a purposeful thing. It's hard to tell without seeing other dialogue from the game, really, isn't it? Because he was even talking like it was an interview, I felt. So I'm hoping that it was just like an ironic, this interview setting scene. A bit of an odd choice for a showcase, though, I feel. The world looked really pretty. Apparently we're fighting against the lizards. Not convinced on the dialogue right now. It's gonna be on Game Pass, though. So there's that. Oh, what game did Ninja House do? On Ninja Theory.
Hi, I'm Don Matthews, studio head here at Ninja Theory in Cambridge, UK.
They're a UK studio.
We're now in the final months of development on Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. And the team is working hard to bring you an unforgettable journey into Senua's unique world and her battle for survival.
It's live
where we
now.
have once again combined high fidelity and immersive presentation with a shorter, narrative-led experience that focuses on the things that we really care about.
Okay.
And that we hope you care about too.
I heard a lot of good things about that. Never got around to playing it though.
Senua is back with a new quest. She wants to stop the Vikings who raided her village right at their source, in Iceland. But not just her quest has changed. Senua herself has grown since the first Hellblade. She's made peace with her past and is no longer in such fear of her visions and voices. While the Furies are still her constant companions, she encounters new people along the way, some of which will value her unique perspective, and others who will reject it.
Little by little, this
You want more
settlement
Central American mythology?
became my tribe.
In the game, Senua arrives in 10th century Iceland on the trail of the Vikings who have been enslaving her people. In the story, we're trying to be as faithful to history as we can up to a point, establishing a solid framework and then building more surreal elements on top. Senua will face up to giants who have plunged the land into chaos, and which in turn has seen the rise of the Droiga, a violent threat that has swept through the settlements that she'll discover.
Hey, Rivers!
Senua will make new enemies and also new allies who will come to see her unique perspective as a beacon of hope. And she'll discover along with us how this viewpoint can have its advantages.
Subtitles. How is story rich? Murray rich? What does that even mean?
Senua is a Celtic warrior who experiences psychosis, seeing things that other people don't, hearing voices and having unique beliefs about the world around her. To bring Senua's perspective of the world to life in a truthful way, we have once again worked closely with Professor Paul Fletcher at the University of Cambridge, as well as people with lived experience of psychosis.
We did our homework. Ninja, how are you? Hope you're well. Playing the game with
Players will find
tricky,
themselves traversing beautiful and hostile environments, seeking answers from patterns and signs that Senua sees in her own unique way, and battling through encounters with enemies that will push Senua to her limits.
Than Detroit.
On Saga, we've taken everything to the next level.
It has a
With
lot
a new
of
motion
really
capture
intense
space,
moments.
a bigger stage team, a stunt crew, and a new cast.
Oh, and they do
We spent a
mocap
lot of
too.
time planning the motion capture shoots, thinking of what events would be good to bring into this
can
fight.
really
Like,
tell the
how can we
difference
make
these
this
days
fight
between
feel
games
different
that
from the previous fight?
incorporated mocap and those that didn't.
We have all new combat for the sequel.
I feel like it's just the way to go now.
One of our key goals was the
Looks even
ability
better
to
than the
actually
last
tell a
one.
story throughout it.
It definitely looks darker than the.
It does feel very different from the first game, but it's very brutal and you're
what game are we
very
talking
invested
about,
in it.
Depends on the game.
Senua isn't a superhero. She's fighting for survival, and we want the player to feel her struggle in every step of her journey. We want the player to always feel like they just scraped through, just survived it.
We want to keep your anxiety at
Mel knows Senua better than anyone, better than I do. Her instincts are amazing, and she really doesn't need much help from me. On stage, our main focus is storytelling. So I get to watch the actors and see all the beautiful expressions on their faces.
Especially
and then I have to wait a little while, and then I get to see that all again in-game, in costume, on location, everything. It's a great experience, a great process.
Every discipline in the studio is unified in achieving a deep level of immersion to help suspend your disbelief and pull you into Senua's story.
Graphics look fantastic.
We were lucky enough to do a few reference gathering trips in Iceland. You have to be there. The sense of scale, everything is incredible. And you see a scene or you see a small section of the game and you're like, yeah, that works, that's amazing.
Senua experiences reality differently, and a part of this manifests in the voices he hears.
The 76 commands will be like 76 guides or
These voices come to life through binaural audio, which provides a good representation of this type of auditory hallucinations. As we focus in immersion, binaural audio is perfect for this because through headphones, you surround yourself in a three-dimensional space. In the first game, we only applied to the voices that Senua listens in her head. In this game, through spatial audio technology and some extra little things within the game, there is music that is binaural. Every single sound has the potential to be binaural, so everything is spatialized around you, and it's a very beautiful experience.
Slightly intense scenes.
What will we do to
So yeah,
music is a strange language in the sense that it speaks to our emotions fast and deep. It's not only about quality, it's about personality. So when you listen to Hellblade, you know it's Hellblade.
Now, I changed them because we do more variety these days.
On the music, we are working with Hylum, which for me is a personal privilege because I really admire them. We feel their craft, their depth, their meaning in the music. It really connects with our game and elevates it to something really special. We are also working with a heavy metal singer, throat singers, and our very own purists. They sing so beautiful, and we add that binaural touch of music. So this all creates a very immersive and a very special and unique experience.
Our mission here at Ninja Theory is to craft life-changing art with game-changing tech. And that's our aim in Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2 is to not only see where Senua goes next, but to deliver something really meaningful for our players.
My hope is that they will really connect to Senua as a character, and even if they can't really relate to what she's going through, maybe they know someone that relates to that character and they can then understand that person better.
Well, I don't want to sound cheesy, but in a way I'm Senua, right? She exists and doesn't. It exists through all of our work, through every ninja. So we all are Senua, and we are creating this character that grows and grows and grows and grows and keep growing and keep changing. So that makes it real.
I'm so proud of the love, care and passion our team here at Ninja Theory are putting into Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Our hope is to not only create a game that is great to play, but to craft an experience that leaves you thinking and feeling. From our combat gameplay through to our action set pieces, from our cinematic scenes to our puzzle solving, everything is crafted in service of Senua's journey. A journey that you can embark on May 21st.
Wow, thank you so much. Oh, Lena had 52. We got at least 2 on 50. Wow. It just keeps counting, doesn't it? Oh, yeah. Exactly 50 for Lena as well. Whoa. Square Enix coming up next. The Dragon Quest? I don't know.
Greetings, Xbox players.
Don't do Neopets.
My name is Masaru Oyamada. producer for the Mana series here at Square Enix.
Yeah, Nova.
聖剣伝説ビジョンズ・オブ・マナの情報を Xbox ユーザーの皆さんにいち早くお伝えできる機会をいただけて大変光栄です。コンソールゲームとしては約17年ぶりとなる聖剣伝説シリーズの完全新作。聖剣伝説シリーズは1991年にファイナルファンタジー外伝として誕生して以降、マナと聖剣をめぐって描かれる愛をテーマに個性豊かなキャラクターたち、心に響く楽曲の数々、武器の特性を生かして戦うアクション RPG としてこれまでに17作発売され長らく愛されてきました。本作は30年以上の歴史あるシリーズの最新作となるため、これまで培われてきた聖剣伝説としての世界をしっかり感じられるものを目指して鋭意制作中です。フィールドでは自然や精霊とのつながりを感じられる色彩豊かな聖剣伝説の世界を体験してもらえると思います。シリーズおなじみのモンスターたちも本作に登場しています。
We brought her downstairs and held her for half an hour to get strong, but after then she got bored and came elsewhere, came back down and just zonked out on
今回
your lap.
これらのおなじみのモンスターたちを作り出した聖剣伝説の生みの親である石井光一さんとともに聖剣伝説ビジョンズ・オブ・マナの内容を紹介していきたいと思います。
Hello, I am Koichi Ishii from Gretz. I am so happy to introduce the newest game in the Mana series to Xbox players. 初期の頃からシリーズ作品に登場しているモンスターたちは私が考案したものですよ。中には小学生の頃すでにイメージができていたものもあります。今作では初めはドット絵からスタートしたモンスターたちをどのような形で最新化して聖剣伝説ビジョンズ・オブ・マナに落とし込むか、デザインの方向性からモデルの完成イメージまでを監修する立場でプロジェクトに参加しました。聖剣伝説ファイナルファンタジー外伝を作っていた頃から自分の頭の中ではモンスターたちは立体的に生き生きと動いて、これまで自分が携わった作品ではそれらをどうやって当時の技術で表現できるかにこだわって作ってきました。最新作では聖剣伝説のモンスターたちのただ可愛いだけではなく恐ろしさの部分もしっかりと表現できているので、バトル中はモンスターたちの表情にも注目してください。
これまで聖剣伝説シリーズには空を旅する海を渡る手助けをしてくれる頼もしい仲間たちがいましたが、今作には広大なフィールド探検に欠かせない新たな仲間が登場します。陸上を猛スピードで駆け回ってくれるピックルも石井さんが新たに考案してくださっています。
新たな仲間を考えるにあたっては今作のマスコットキャラクターになるくらい可愛い動物にしたいという漠然とした思いがありました。その上でヨークシャテリアの毛並み、見た目はアルマジによく似た仙山港や古代エジプト神のアヌビスの子供といった具体的なイメージが浮かんできて、それぞれの特徴を取り入れながらラグデザインを書き起こしました。デザイナーにもアイデアを出してもらいながら足の長さや丸まった時のイメージなどゲームの中での見え方も考えながら調整を重ねていき、ピックルは誕生しました。
もう一つの挑戦は楽曲面です。過去さまざまなコンポーザーが携わられた楽曲の雰囲気が感じられつつも、最新作として素晴らしい新たな楽曲が生まれました。 BGM でもしっかり聖剣伝説シリーズらしさを感じてもらえると思います。過去シリーズの楽曲を手掛けたクリエイターたちが全100曲という大ボリュームの制作に挑んでくれました。新たな試みとしてフィールドの探索からバトルまでをシームレスに体験できるよう今作ではインタラクティブミュージックを導入しており、冒険の没入感を高めてくれます。探索中の BGM がバトルに入った瞬間、アレンジが切り替わる様を実際に聴いてみましょう。
Cute music down too.
今作はアクション RPG 聖剣伝説のアクション部分が強化されています。空中でのアクションがバトルの鍵となっており、武器での攻撃だけでなく魔法での攻撃も可能になっています。そして本作ならではの特徴として聖剣伝説シリーズではおなじみの精霊たちがいますが、その力を宿した武器を使うとバトルを手助けしてくれるようになります。精霊によっては様々な特性の違いがありますので、その効果とともに聖剣伝説の世界らしい不思議な力で爽快なバトルを楽しんでいただけます。
オリジナルモンスターやピックリンも注目してほしいのですが、聖剣伝説ビジョンズ・オブ・マナーは聖剣伝説らしさを感じてもらえる作品になるよう、小山田君を中心にチームのみんなが頑張って作ってくれていますので、ぜひ発売日を楽しみに待っていてください。私自身もプレイするのを楽しみにしています。
聖剣伝説シリーズとして初めて Xbox ユーザーの皆さんにお届けする本作聖剣伝説ビジョンズ・オブ・マナーは今後も様々な情報をお届けしていきますので、ぜひご期待ください。この夏、この忘れられない冒険を Xbox ユーザーの皆さんに楽しんでいただける日が今から待ちきれません。
Square Enix, go to Xbox. So it might not. We don't know if it's going to be on the Switch. Oxide.
Hello, and welcome to Oxide Games. We founded the studio in 2013 with our decades of personal experience building some of the most beloved strategy games of all time, like Civilization V. We came together to create something new and innovative in a genre we all love. Ara History Untold is the game we've dreamt of making.
Ara is an homage to historical gamers, strategy gamers, 4X gamers. It features all the depth and gameplay fans of this genre love, where you'll explore the world, expand your nation, govern your people, and engage with your rivals on the international stage. But it isn't just more of the same. With Ara, we wanted to challenge some of the preconceived notions about the genre, push it forward in a modern, empowering, and truly compelling and approachable way.
For example, we have over 100 instruments on display in the office, which are all things that we purchased in order to add to the soundtrack and expand the game and make it really good.
He's like, what are you doing?
Hi, Dan.
Hey, Bob. How are you?
That's Dan. We started in his basement.
Well, yeah. It looks like they made the last one.
It's been an amazing process to see from concept to completion. We started small, building a robust game engine, questioning our design assumptions, and prototyping out features, rediscovering what made us fall in love with strategy games in the first place.
The end result is Ara, the historical grand strategy game that presents a living world where you can rule how you want to rule and chart your own path to becoming the most prestigious nation on the planet.
For Ara, we knew we needed deep systems with outcomes that encourage exploration and give players the power to experiment and make meaningful strategic choices while still having agency over their playstyle.
We also wanted to explore more in different parts of history and give players from around the world the chance to see the game reflect their unique perspective and not just ours.
And finally, we knew that for players to feel the impact of their decisions, they would need to see their choices reflected in the game world itself, not just through numbers on a menu. One of the first differences you'll see when you dive into Ara is what we call the living world. It's a procedurally generated alternate Earth, bursting with life, an intuitive, authentic, and immersive space, a blank canvas for players to paint the society of their dreams.
The living world isn't just a map. It reflects the choices players make over the course of the game. They can see everything from the settling of the wilderness to cultural influence on architecture over time to the thousands of citizens living their lives and reacting to the changes.
The difference is, though, they're
we want
coming
players to feel like they're truly occupying the world, leading their people as they thrive and grow.
Of course, it'll be
core to the vision of Ara is our philosophy of rule how you want to rule. And no feature better exemplifies this than the prestige system.
To win a game of Ara, players will compete with their rivals to build the most influential, impressive, and important nation the world has ever known. This is measured by prestige, the player's score that proves their worth as a leader.
The prestige system gives players the chance to decide what kind of leader they want to be. Do they want to pursue great works of arts and culture?
I mean,
military
is it a
might.
Though, Twee, if they made
scientific advancement. The choice is theirs. In Ara, there are no set victory conditions. Players get to decide what is most important to them and focus and prioritize on those goals while still being able to win the game.
Personally, when I play Ara, I like to build triumphs. Triumphs are our collection of incredible monuments and architectural achievements from throughout human history. Like the Great Pyramid of Giza. They're hard to build, but worth it, giving huge prestige bonuses and game-changing abilities to the nation that constructs them.
Another aspect of Ara that I'm personally excited about is our crafting system.
The crafting system offers a unique challenge to the player that they generally won't see often in the 4X genre. Succeeding at balancing, gathering the right things, turning them into the tools that you need, and then finally getting to the outcome or reward of something like an important improvement or triumph just changes the challenge that exists in Ara compared to other 4X games.
Focus more on strategy.
Crafting plays out in Ara at a national scale, with players honing and combining the natural resources they harvest into all manner of goods and components. Those are the foundation for everything, from international trade to improving their cities and citizens' lives, and even manufacturing the weapons necessary to draft military units. The crafting system in Ara encourages thoughtful, advanced planning. It rewards players who can see the strategic outcome of all their collective decisions, and not just the individual ones.
I'm proud of the work that's gone into our simultaneous turn system. Many strategy games have players alternate taking turns and reacting to their opponent's moves. In Ara, all players' actions are resolved at the same time. This rewards players' ability to navigate uncertainty, to predict and strategically plan for a variety of scenarios in the moment. This system makes Ara just feel more real.
They're like,
in a typical strategy game, once your turn is finished, you have to wait for a long time. With simultaneous turns, generally speaking, those times are very low. You get to keep playing the game and stay engaged rather than having those periods of downtime where you're not doing anything.
From there, gotcha.
It's not easy sifting through all of history and picking what to include. For Ara, we wanted to offer a fresh perspective, so we looked at cultures and societies throughout the millennia with the broadest lens possible.
Where this approach really shines is in our leaders. Leaders are so often seen as military personnel or prominent government figures, but leaders come in so many different forms. They're thought leaders, scientific and cultural prodigies, and many more.
Each leader in Ara has a number of special abilities determined by their personality traits, as well as a powerful and unique leader trait informed by their contributions to world history.
With a diverse global roster, we know players will find leaders that they will want to play, and even a few that may surprise them with how fun it is when those leaders are handed the reins of power.
So it makes sense they'd go on to make strategy
games.
For
us at Oxide, player feedback is the only way to really understand what you're making. It gives us that priceless perspective from the people we're making Ara for, you.
Building the game alongside real players has given us that critical player feedback. In the end, we believe this makes for a deeper connection between the players and the game.
One of my favorite examples is when we first introduced the concept of dangerous wildlife to the game. It turns out, in our first iteration, it was maybe a little bit too aggressive or disruptive. We knew we should probably make a change when one of our insiders made a forum post that was just,
Cougars, cougars,
cougars, I hate cougars.
Someone get these feline demons away from me. I'm happy to report, based on more recent feedback, that I think we ended up in a good place with the overall threat level of mountain lions to a player's citizenry.
It's been years of hard work to bring you a strategy experience like no other. And we're so excited that we can finally see the finish line.
Civilization.
We can't wait for players to get their hands on the game later this year.
But the launch of Ara is only the beginning. We are going to maintain our insider program after the release date and continue to listen to players and support the game into the future.
On behalf of everyone at Oxide Games, thank you for joining us today. We can't wait for you to play Ara and to create your own history.
So much down on time. I imagine it's a bit more complicated for them to do, but yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense these days, doesn't it? Yeah. It's confounded by the guy who made Stardock and so, yeah, some of the former employees. That's why it looks similar to Civ. Oh, those are the free strategy games this year, Aura, Humankind, and Millennia. The question would be, what are they doing that's different to
Uppsala, Sverige, här hos Machine Games. We are really excited to finally be able to share our work on Indiana Jones. Since the first film came out, Indiana Jones has always represented the ultimate adventure. Even today, it's one of the most iconic franchises in pop culture. In this game, you aren't just playing as Indy, you are Indiana Jones. You will see through his eyes and experience a journey that we hope lives up to the proud legacy of Indiana Jones. When Todd Howard first told us about his vision for the game, we knew we would be a very good fit to help bring it to life.
I've wanted to make an Indiana Jones game forever. I'd had this idea for what it would be like and the story, what Indy was going after, what period of his life it was in, what kind of arc he was going to have. And as the years went on, I thought, who would be like the best studio in the world to make this? And it was my friends at Machine Games.
Or something?
I can remember pitching Lucasfilm on the game and being a little bit nervous because, look, it's Indiana Jones, and their response was just overwhelmingly positive, and just that excitement has bled through the whole project, and they have just been so trusting and supportive of everything that we want to do with the game. It's been a long time. I've been a fan of this my whole life, and I couldn't be more excited to show you what the team here has been up to. Let's take our first look at the new Indiana Jones game.
Finally get to see some gameplay!
Let me tell you what you are missing, Dr. Jones. While you were playing your pointless game, I was playing you. You're wondering if maybe you should have built yourself a life of meaning.
Looks like they did mocap.
Instead of ending up here, dead and forgotten in the sense of Africa.
Lucasfilm game.
Myths.
Oh, was it all in
History.
First person?
Just different ways to interpret the past. Thousands of years of humanity's thoughts and beliefs, scattered and buried.
It's like Tomb Raider, but in first person. I'm probably not gonna be able to play it because of the motion sickness. But if we can switch between first and third, then I'll be fine. But if it's entirely in first, it's gonna be rough for me.
Watch me.
Indiana's face is a face. I don't know, something slightly off about it. I do not want to swing around on ropes in first person. That will actually make me throw up.
If you were to draw a line through these ancient sites around the globe, you get a perfectly aligned circle.
The other faces look like, you know what I mean? The other faces look like faces, but Indiana Jones' face was just, there was something slightly
Trust me.
Uncanny Valley.
It ain't a walk in the park.
Okay, then.
You feel like it makes you feel like it's a simulation, Johnny. The environments look great. Most faces are, you know what I mean? The environments look great, the other characters look great, but then it cut to Indiana Jones and I was like, his face looks weird.
Of the fallen angels.
But you get to punch Nazis. At least, but think of the positives.
The great
I think he's just too smooth. I think the issue with the face is it's too smooth and not textured enough. But other characters have a lot more texture in their faces.
Have any idea how old that was?
It's Indy's face that's weird. Everyone else's faces were fine.
Indiana Jones is such an iconic character, and he means so much to so many people.
Everyone here at the studio has their own indie stories and memories.
Most of us grew up with his adventures and have been fans of the movies and the character for years. He's a brilliant archaeologist. He's a charismatic everyman. He's passionate and determined.
I think that might be
and
it,
for us, he's synonymous
with
adventure.
Now we have the opportunity to tell a new Indiana Jones story for a modern gaming audience. Our game is all about putting you in Indy's shoes, letting you see and feel what he sees and feels. For us at Machine Games, we do that best through first person. It's the ideal perspective to bring you into the rich, exciting and interactive world we've built. We believe that being up close and personal to the adventure is key, making each action feel like your own.
For accessibility's sake, can we have
whether it's cracking your whip, solving puzzles in ancient temples, or seeing your knuckles go bloody in a fistfight. All of these moments are much more intense in first person. But we still want you to have those moments. Seeing his iconic silhouette with the hat and the whip, and so for things like cutscenes and environmental traversal, we pull the camera back for a third-person view.
Or it's very difficult to play, especially with
Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is set between Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade.
When our game begins, Indiana is working at Marshall College. He wakes up in the middle of the night to the sounds of a break-in and rushes to confront the thief in the college museum. The mysterious giant of a man makes off with what seems to be a historically insignificant artifact, sparking Indiana's curiosity.
Who the hell are you?
Following the trail, Indiana heads to the Vatican, hoping to learn why this particular relic was stolen, and discovers that things aren't what they appear.
He starts pulling at the strings of a mystery, and it all unravels until he has no choice but to see it through to the end, whatever the end may be.
On next plane to Rome. Stop. Need help. Stop. Meet me in Vatican. Stop. Indy.
We always talk about how clever Indiana Jones is. That had to be one of our guiding principles when we were thinking about the type of game we were making.
I'd be surprised if he did the mocap.
It wouldn't be Indy if he wasn't using his wits to get through the situation. The most authentic Indiana Jones experience we can make is the one that makes you think first.
Sure, there will be some obstacles that will be more easily overcome with the revolver or a gun taken from a disarmed guard. But I think most of the time you'll have more fun, and to be honest, a more genuine indie experience by finding more clever ways to solve a problem.
We always want to be offering more solutions, whether it's trying a different path through the environment to get around enemies, observing enemy patrols and using them to your advantage, or using the tools at your disposal, like the whip.
It's an amazing global adventure, with action propelling you through your journey.
We have these really diverse environments for you to explore. Indy's journey will take him to the forgotten temples of Sukhothai, the pyramids of Egypt, the snow-peaked Himalayas, and beyond.
We look carefully at each location and the time period the game is set in, and we're trying to make it as authentic and accurate as possible.
We love creating rich, vibrant worlds, and in this game, we also had the goal of making it feel like a true cinematic Indiana Jones adventure.
One of the biggest ways to do that is with the music.
We gotta have a theme tune.
John Williams is the original composer for the Indy films, and we're really lucky to have found Gordy Hub, a composer who's been able to capture Williams' essence with his score for The Great Circle.
Yeah, it definitely has more of a, well, Indiana Jones / Tomb Raider
We
feel,
also take a very movie-like approach to things like cinematics. We're very physical with our production style. We use a lot of stunt actors. Things like this help us bridge the gap between making a game and making a movie.
Tell what they were doing different to Civilization.
And of course, our characters do a lot to help bring the world to life as well. Next to Indy, Gina is our other main protagonist. Where Indy is pursuing answers just for the sake of curiosity, Gina has a personal stake in getting to the bottom of the core mystery.
Gina is an investigative reporter who has a lot riding on this adventure. She's been tracking a lead for some time, and now she's found an ally in this determined American professor. Their paths are intertwined, and they'll need each other in order to get to the bottom of this mystery.
Okay, then. Let's see if you can keep up.
Fight. What do you mean if I can keep up?
We always love our villains. I think we might have found our favorite one yet in Emmerich Voss. He's this intensely psychological man. He's obsessed with the human mind and manipulating it.
He's highly intelligent and the perfect foil for Indy. They're both brilliant people, compelled by their passions and obsessions, but driven down wildly different roads.
You know what a character has
He creeps up on you and gets under your skin like he gets under Indy's skin.
Like I said, the other characters aren't...
And forgotten in the
They look a bit more real and in place in the world than he does.
One of our models for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is adventure first. But in every indie adventure, there are always those moments where he finds himself in the action.
Like using
That's been one of those balancing acts for us, and we've ended up with this sort of hybrid experience that mixes melee combat, stealth, and gunplay.
Welcome, how's it going?
How you approach any given situation is up to you. You may choose to sneak around an enemy patrol, or maybe you'll just pick up a shovel and whack them on the back of their head. And when you can't use your wits,
you
got Indy's most iconic shovel. Just like you see in the movies, one of our goals has been to make the whip as fun and multi-purposed as possible. We want it integrated into every aspect of the game.
You can use it as a traversal tool to make your way around the environment.
Indiana Jones's whip is like Tomb Raider.
You can use it as a distraction.
And
yes, you can absolutely use it in combat.
Let's just forget
everything
that
you'd
happened,
expect from Indy's whip. And hopefully a little bit more. Puzzles are a key feature in our game. The spirit of discovery is so important to Indiana Jones. Obviously, there are a handful of puzzles on the main path, but a lot of the puzzles are optional and are just there for the players who want to experience them.
Why are they optional?
Epic traps, small secrets, and hidden puzzles that blend right in with their surroundings.
One thing I love about our game is the level of interactivity that we have. We have this world of mystery where anything could potentially hide a secret. The more you look, the more you'll discover.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I want to thank you all for joining us for our big reveal of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Machine Games is known for creating these rollercoaster experiences with huge set pieces, surprising twists, and immersive narratives. It's exciting for us that we have been able to stay so true to the Indiana Jones franchise and create such an authentic experience while still being able to showcase what makes us us. We are making a game for everyone, whether you are very familiar with the franchise or not. Because at the heart of Indiana Jones is an incredible adventure, and I think that's something everyone wants to be part of. I'm also very excited to announce that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle will be coming later this year, and we cannot wait to share more soon.
Shut the timeline as well. Soon TM. Do you think everything that they're showing is coming out this year? I mean, usually with the Direct it does. Oh, okay, yeah. This year. Game Pass, yeah. Because Bethesda are producing it. I'm just worried that it's only in first. I'm just worried I can't play it. Because of motion sickness.
Should I take one?
Is it animals, children, and game developers?
And first. I didn't expect it to only be first.
Our mission here at Ninja Theory is to craft life-changing art with game-changing tech.
Basically, I'm worried about the accessibility options in it.
Core to the vision of Ara is our philosophy of rule how you want to rule.
Usually Xbox Direct, for a while now, it's been everything coming out only that year.
Creating an immersive experience like Avowed is anchored in the world we build.
That was on a couple of hours ago now, because it was
you
on too
aren't
early.
just playing as Indy, you are Indiana Jones.
My name
oh, really?
is Masaru Oyama.
今
作はアクション RPG 聖剣伝説のアクション部分が強化されています。
Hellblade looked good. I would definitely be up for playing. Okay, we'll check out the Diablo Direct now that we missed a couple of hours ago. But yeah, I would definitely be up for playing Hellblade. It could make a nice Halloween game, that, depending on when it comes out. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's not too long, this. Because most of it is starting soon.
I sense that recent events have brought
Yeah. So we'll probably be checking out the new season on Fridays. 24th, I think it comes out.
Many fear the inexplicable. I feel in it.
We don't play. I don't really play ESO though.
You seek answers. This will lead you to the knowledge you desire.
Hey, Elijah, how you doing? Hope you're well. Welcome.
This rune is the missing piece of an arcane construct.
I think ESO was happening directly after, but yeah, I haven't really played it for over a year now. So it's very unlikely that I'll play the new expansion because I'm so far behind.
Beneath Kyrgyzstan, in the ancient vaults of Zoltan Kul. Untouched for centuries, they are protected by deadly traps of Kul's own design. And guarded by his mechanical horrors.
I quite enjoyed the vampire season.
But
the concept for that was really
the
good.
architect Zoltan Kul overestimated his cleverness. In his hubris, the mage abandoned his work, leaving darker forces free to corrupt his machinations and claim the vault's power for themselves. The answers await you in the depths. Take the rune, if you dare.
I hope they keep the vampire. Yeah, I mean, I'd do it every season with the vampire powers. I thought they were fun.
Season of the Construct has so much going on.
New quest lines, new legendary items, new unique items, new mechanics, challenges, and more. In the Season of the Construct, you learn of a wondrous place beneath the sands of Kyrgyzstan.
I don't know why they turned off. I had them on for that video. Unavailable. Sorry, I don't know why it's unavailable.
Those that do return are haunted, or worse yet, possessed. You seek out this place to put an end to whatever is lurking there. Following a lead, you discover a sprawling network of underground vaults.
Yeah, that's weird. Sorry about that. This is the official Diablo.
Long ago by the brilliant mages Zoltan and Ayuzhan of Chaldeum to shape the elements and build tools
CC wasn't available for some reason.
While exploring the network, you rescue Ayuzhan,
put that on for people,
only to discover that the demon Malphus has taken over the womb to create its
feels like an oversight.
hell.
Yeah.
Malphus is a servant of Diablo. He's unlike other demons encountered Diablo 4. He's shapeless, manipulates others, takes on forms other than his own.
He
has possessed one of Zoltan's prized constructs.
And you must work with Ayuzhan to explore the vaults, gain access to the loom, and defeat Malphus.
This season introduces constructs. These elementally powered monsters were originally created by Ayuzhan and Zoltan to protect and maintain the loom. Unfortunately, Malphus is taking control of them and twists them to his liking. They're powered by various different elements, giving them different abilities, and strengths and weaknesses.
New Vegas vibes from
You'll also find them, of course, in the vaults themselves, protecting the many treasures within. As players engage with the storyline of the Season of the Construct, they're going to come across a broken version of the Seneschal during the quest line. The Seneschal is a special construct that was built to command the other constructs based on Ayuzhan's and Zoltan's direction. Ayuzhan of Chaldeum repairs the Seneschal to follow your orders. The Seneschal construct is your companion. It's a rebuilt construct that will accompany you throughout the season. Your construct's power will grow along with you. The Seneschal construct has many different abilities that can complement the player's build. It can deal damage, crowd control monsters, or even support you directly by healing you or providing you a damage bonus. Magical stones are the key to customizing and empowering your construct. They are primarily found in vaults. You get governing stones from the season's quest line, and you get tuning stones from playing through the seasonal content. A governing stone is a core construct ability, while a tuning stone is a singular modification for any number of governing stones.
As players are progressing through the season of the construct and they're leveling up their seneschal, adding new abilities and improving them, they're going to find abilities that are going to deal damage to packs of monsters, to single monsters, and also abilities that are just focused on buffing the power of the player themselves, so that players have different options as they're progressing through the season.
One cool ability is auto defense.
I think it's just the new game coming out this year. The developer direct already finished.
That shoots down enemy
they're
projectiles.
doing ESO now.
Another cool ability that your construct has is focus fire. It is a channeled ray of fire that can chain multiple enemies. Use combinations of tuning stones to transform a seemingly simple skill into something truly crazy.
Vaults are seasonal dungeons that are filled with a high concentration of deadly traps, where you can farm for the magic stones for your seneschal construct.
Oh, okay.
You can find the entrances in different zones of Sanctuary. When a player enters a vault, they are met in a familiar area of Sanctuary. Then, the player teleports to the vault proper,
it's very rare for it to get a show, isn't it? Hi, Iron. How are you?
Vaults not only have our new construct family in them, but also new traps built for this season.
Players are going to discover many new hazards inside these vault spaces. Whether it is spinning pillars, shooting out flames, or other traps. Players need to stay on their toes while they're progressing through these vaults to stay alive.
Each vault culminates in a gauntlet of true skill. Players must avoid traps while fighting waves of enemies in a powerful elite. If you survive that, the traps will turn off and the treasure room is revealed. If you get hit by a trap, you lose one stack of Zoltan's warding.
You're gonna be the guy who just walks. You're just gonna make yourself so tanky. You just walk through it to the music.
If they have a pearl of warding. Ward-woven chests.
Yeah, we're just covering the
at the end of a
developer direct
if they have enough stacks of Zoltan's warding left over. If a player has more than one
we're just going through the Diablo direct right now after the main direct finish.
Those have even better rewards. This season introduces our first stationary boss in Diablo 4.
This is going to be a fight against this massive protective golem meant to watch over the vaults. The Malthus, once again, has managed to corrupt and control.
Ooh, got an automaton boss too.
It gives us the opportunity to include some of the season's new traps into the arena. This presents a lot of unique and new mechanics for the players to navigate and fight.
The player is going to need to bring all of their skills and abilities to bear as they try to destroy and fight off these Malthus-controlled constructs. They're also going to make good use of their own seneschal, make sure they remain upgraded in the fights to come.
The gauntlets. Oh, okay.
The gauntlet
they're
is a
finally
new fixed-seed non-linear dungeon where players have a fixed amount of time to achieve high scores by proving their might. Any player who unlocks World Tier 4, Torment Mode, can compete in the gauntlet. The gauntlet starts several weeks into the season of the construct. At the beginning of each week, a new gauntlet replaces the current one. Unlike other dungeons, every time you and other players enter the gauntlet that week, it will be exactly the same. Same monster positions, same affixes, everything. This makes it a fair competition. Additionally, monsters within the gauntlet start at level 100. This is meant to test your fully leveled up and geared out build. It's highly replayable, enabling a broad set of player choices. Players can try different classes and strategies for achieving high scores. Leaderboards are a place for top players to compete with one another in the gauntlet. These reset each week when a new gauntlet appears. There are solo leaderboards for each class, as well as party leaderboards that vary with party size. And of course, there are a set of leaderboards just for hardcore players too. But some players may not be ready for that type of play, so we've created goals for them as well. Each leaderboard has a ladder that you climb to reach it. Each rung of the ladder awards a seal that you can show off. And when you earn the seal of the worthy, you'll be ready for leaderboard competition. Can't wait to see you in Sanctuary.
January 23rd. Not 24th. Maybe it was.
Hello, Diablo
it was
community.
Over here.
Welcome
That's
to
probably why I
another
got that
Diablo
day.
4 developer update live stream. My name is Adam Fletcher. I am the community lead for the Diablo franchise, and of course, I'm joined by some special guests here today. I'm joined by Dan and Madeline. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure thing. I'm Dan Tangway. I am the lead designer
yeah, we can check
for
that out
Season
next
3,
Friday,
Season
then.
of the Construct.
Cool.
And I'm Madeline James, and I'm one of our quest designers on Diablo 4.
And what you guys probably don't realize is, or maybe you do, if you watch these streams often, you'll most definitely realize we're in a completely different set today.
Enough? I feel like
actually
they're
live from
extra
Albany,
quiet.
New York, at Blizzard Albany, and we're doing the stream up here.
Really quiet.
And so now we have two different sets.
Can you
we have
guys
one
hear
in
properly?
Irvine and one in Albany, and we actually have another guest that will be joining us today. And it's a very familiar face to all our live streams. That's Mr. Adam Jackson.
Okay, yeah,
He's
their
live
mic
from
seem a lot
the
quieter
Irvine
than the rest
studio.
of the audio.
Hi,
so.
Adam. Good to see you. And we'll be talking to you soon because we're going to be talking about balance and classes and everything. So we'll be joining Adam here shortly. But we have a lot to talk about.
Stream
a lot with
rooms
Season
are
3. We
always
announced
really
it
cool.
earlier this week with Season of the Construct. We've seen a lot of cool feedback and great feedback from players related to the trailer and everything that released
working
out
really hard
earlier
on the
this
new
week.
season.
But we did want to talk a little bit before we jump into Season 3 and those items. We do want to talk a little bit about the new year and obviously going through the holiday and Season 2 where we had a Season of Blood where players got to jump in, of course, fight Lord Zir, jump into different blood harvests and everything. And what was awesome to see with Season of Blood or Season of Blood is that we ended up getting really great feedback from players about how they enjoyed some of the aspects with it, and just hearing that feedback has helped us a whole lot in terms of how we're going to build out Diablo 4, especially in future seasons. And one big thing that we introduced was the boss ladder.
Yeah, and like Burger King were doing a promo, and they ran out of burgers.
And it was a good opportunity for players to kind of target farm Uber Uniques, which was really great.
They had like a
and we got to see a lot of players actually obtain Uber Uniques this season. And I will say, we plan on having the boss ladder again for Season 3 with some tweaks, which we'll talk about here shortly.
I mean, they've been doing a good job since then, though. I think they took that feedback from the
And of course, we had Abattoir of Zir. This was a new endgame feature that we ended up announcing at BlizzCon, and we introduced right before the holidays for players to check out. And, I do want to give a huge shout out to the community because we got a lot of feedback about Abattoir of Zir. And this feedback is really important because we are planning on additional endgame activities in the future. I will say that Abattoir of Zir will not be present in Season 3, but based off the feedback we ended up hearing from players, we'll have more news to share in the future about, maybe next iterations or growth from what we've learned with that endgame feature with Abattoir Zir. So thanks again to the community for all the great feedback with that. And then we have Midwinter Blight, which was our first event, our first holiday event in Diablo 4. Where players got to actually collect really, really cool cosmetics. If you wanted to carry some bells and race around on your back or on your weapons and everything like that, you had the opportunity for that. Another good opportunity for our players to actually provide feedback, because this was our first holiday event. And so we're actually going to have future holiday events. You guys will hear about one pretty soon in the future. And based off of a lot of great feedback we got, you'll be seeing that feedback applied to some of these future events that we have coming forward. And of course, at the end of the year, we ended up going over kind of all the big stats since Diablo 4 launched, and a ton of people have joined Diablo 4 to slay demons with us in Sanctuary, and a lot of people have died as well. And some of these stats, these numbers have only grown since we posted these late last year. And of course, we had 37 million people died at the Butcher. Now more, for sure, since we ended up having that. We've had over 1 trillion monsters killed, which is absolutely crazy. And, lots of hardcore deaths, lots of hardcore deaths for people who choose to play a little bit more risky and play hardcore specifically. And our two most popular classes being the Sorcerer and the Necromancer. Not too surprised on the Necromancer. Necromancer is a fan favorite, has always been a fan favorite with D2 and D3. I actually, funny enough, I might actually be playing Necromancer here for Season 3. I don't know what you guys were planning on playing for Season 3, but...
The team makes fun of me. I play Swork every single season. That's my favorite.
I played Swork last season too, so I don't blame you.
Well, I've been meaning to play Druid, so I might do that.
Buck
the trend there.
There we go. I did Druid in Season 1. I did Swork in Season 2. Feeling Necromancer in Season 3, so I think that's going to be my choice there. But, so it was great to see all the numbers and all the stats from Diablo 4 since launch.
Yeah, it was
but today,
if you're running
we're here to talk about Season 3, Season of the Construct. It's arriving January 23rd. Dan, do you want to give us a quick little...
Sure, yeah. So Season of the Construct is packed with a lot of content. And so there's a lot of things we're going to cover coming up. I mean, the first thing we're going to talk about is our all-new quest line that delves beneath
I do like that they've been doing quest lines with the seasons.
Nothing good happens beneath the sands of Kyrgyzstan, so that's where we're headed. And in addition to that, as you've seen from a lot of the promotional materials, we are now introducing a seasonal companion called the Seneschal Construct.
Seasonal companion?
And that is something that you can upgrade and really kind of round out your builds in new ways.
Oh, it's that little spider boss.
In addition to that, we have a couple of new repeatable activities. The first is the Vaults, which is an all-new dungeon type. And the second is Arcane Tremors, which is a new overworld activity.
Yeah.
And last but surely not least, in terms of the Season 3 package,
nonsense on Twitter
is
today.
the Gauntlet and leaderboards. And those are coming pretty soon. But we'll give you a bit of a tease right now, I think.
Yeah, so I know a ton of stuff for Season 3. Yeah. This is most definitely the biggest season yet for Diablo 4, with a lot of content. And as you mentioned, questline and story being the first thing that we wanted to dive into. Yeah. Madeline, I think this is a good opportunity to talk to us a little bit about what we can expect for the questline for Season 3.
So as Dan mentioned, we have a new questline for Season 3. In it, you are going to assist the mage Ayujan to purge the demon Malphus from the vaults of Zoltan Kuhl. Malphus has taken over the vaults, turned them into his own little kingdom.
He just looks like he's really tired because they've had him on that spinny wheel for hours.
Inside of them against their makers.
Yes.
I think a good question to start with is kind of why constructs. It's a little bit of a departure from seasons past.
It's a little,
Season 1 dealt with malignancy, and Season 2 dealt with vampires, both stemming from Lilith's
situation.
But Sanctuary is such a big place. And so many different stories and lore, where present-day Sanctuary is kind of the Dark Ages. We've had, thousands of years of different technology and magic, and this is one of those stories. We spent a lot of time discussing as a team what we even wanted to do for Season 3. And the story team really fell in love with mage guns. We delved into a lot of Diablo lore. We delved into the Sin War books. We delved into Roderick Vault, etc. And the mage guns, for people that don't know, were these ancient mage societies that really were expertise in certain levels of magic. And we love the Visurai. They're typically the bad guys, typically delve into demonic magic, even though they're not, traditionally evil per se. And Visurai created constructs. They took machinery and their demonic magic and made these soldiers and guards.
No, get away from the...
Our protagonist, Ayujan, is not technically Visurai. He's part of the Ennead clan with Zoltan Kuhl. But their goal was to take these idea of constructs and make them their own and, do them in a different way.
Yeah, and Zoltan Kuhl is kind of a familiar face for everyone in Diablo.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah. No pun intended.
Definitely pun intended.
Pun intended, yes.
Zoltan played a part in the Diablo 3 story, and of course we saw him in Diablo Immortal as well.
Yes, Zoltan was one of the original Haradrim. Good old Uncle Tyrael gave him the original Soul Stones. It's like, hey, I trust you, take care of them. Zoltan went a little bit off script, and he's like, what if I made these better? And so he created his Dark Soul Stone, which was his own kind of flawed attempt at ending the Eternal Conflict. It didn't go quite as he expected, and the rest of Haradrim said, we don't really like what you're doing. You got to get out. So they killed him. We're too frightened of you. But Zoltan and Ayujan knew each other in their youth and became business partners and eventually friends. And they shared this vision of, if we can create our own version of constructs and create this alternate power source that's not using demonic magic, the Loom, these constructs can fight heaven and hell, and humanity can flourish.
They just hate everybody.
Unfortunately, it didn't go as expected. They couldn't get it right. And Zoltan was just like, you know what? I'm going to move on to bigger and greater things. This is a failure. let's move on. And Ayajan was like, no, we have something here, let's keep going. And unfortunately, that created a rift in their friendship. And that rift allowed for the demon Malphus to infiltrate their work. Malphus is a demon that you're going to encounter in the quest line and then fight an Uber version of him later in the season. He's a little bit different than our typical demon. You think of, big, scary guy with horns. Like I said before, we took inspiration from Sin War, and they have a lot of different types of demons.
Going to have an Uber version.
Different abilities, different shapes. One of them is like this stone liquid mass with a mouth on top. And so the original Malphus was like this red mist, and that allowed him to kind of sneak into corners that he wasn't supposed to. Malphus is a named demon, and he's one of terror, but he's very unimportant in the hierarchy of hell. That kind of bothers him. We joked around on the team that he had a desk job in hell. So when he found the opportunity to sneak into Sanctuary and to corrupt the vaults, he's like, this is my time to shine. This is my kingdom. I'm going to rule it. And he did that successfully for many, many years. And he might have gotten away with it forever, except he was a little bit too prideful. He's like, I'd like to sneak out and leave the vaults.
Yeah, he's not satisfied with the vaults. He now wants to start trying to take over Sanctuary itself.
And that's where the player comes in.
Yeah.
So I think we have footage of the quest line, the early parts. We're going to start in Gaia Cool, where Malphus's influence has seeped in. Villagers and demons don't typically go well. They can't even imagine their insurance rates. But they hire you and they're like, hey, something's going on, something up north, please figure it out for us. And so you find the first vault and you delve into it to try and get a sense of what's going on. And these are where you're going to start seeing the first hostile constructs that Malphus has corrupted. And find your own construct. You start finding pieces of it. You're going to keep traveling through, and eventually you're going to find Ayajan, who is in a less perfect than ideal situation under Malphus's influence. You eventually free him. He's like, thank you so much. I don't even know what's going on, but let's figure this out together. And he fixes the Seneschal construct for you. He's like, you're probably going to need this.
So when we get our little
delve
friend.
into and force Malphus out.
Yeah, and here we're seeing like part of the quest line, like obviously building up and kind of creating your own Seneschal.
Yeah.
Why do I feel like chain lightning's going to be a
thing
thing
footage
again?
of the Malphus fight as well.
Just, based on...
So Malphus is our first stationary boss. He uses the environment, the hazards in the room, as well as his glaive to smack you around. There are different elements in the boss fight that are going to appear out of the switch. Like I said before, he's this red mist, but for this fight, he is possessed the largest construct he could find, the Guardian, to fight you.
There's a lot that goes on in that fight.
The loom is in the background.
Yeah. So imagine then Malphus is pretty much become like the embodiment. It's the vault itself, and the vault is now coming alive to try and kill you.
When you delve into the vaults, it's definitely going through his literal body.
Yep.
He definitely wants you out. He doesn't want you in there. He's going to he'd throw everything in the kitchen sink at you.
Yep.
We also have footage of our new seasonal town, the Gate Hall. This is kind of the gateway between the vaults and the upper world. You're going to go through it in the quest line, and then it is going to turn into a town for you to use. Has a waypoint, so easy travel. Most of the vendors that you know and love, you can see here that they're actually construct vendors that Ayajan has fixed for you to help you out. And here you're going to be accessing the vaults. You can also access them in the overworld if you choose so. So it should be a really convenient place for you to visit and turn into your main hub for the season.
Yeah, we expect a lot of players will be hanging out here in the Gate Hall, since all your vendors will be here. It'll be easy access to the vaults and everything. So kind of the new hub specifically for Season 3. So. Yeah, sounds really cool. Yeah, really excited for the questline and story for Season 3. Obviously, we talked about Seneschal constructs and how that's actually going to be a big part of the storyline. People have been talking about it all this week with, seeing the footage of like, wow, it looks like we have these little companions with us now for Season 3. So, Dan, can you talk us a little bit about, what Seneschal construct is?
Yeah, so the Seneschal construct is a seasonal companion.
But I have been
And the seasonal companion is kind of the embodiment of your power chase for the season. So every season we try to develop a new type of power chase, and power is really important to our players. Obviously, this is a game about becoming super powerful and killing lots of demons, and we're always trying to find new ways to do that. So we really wanted to stretch ourselves this season and find a way that players hadn't seen before. And so that is how the Seneschal came into being. Now the Seneschal is this little construct, well, maybe not so little, but it follows you around, and it has different skills and abilities.
And I will note, you can pet your construct, your
The most
Seneschal
important
construct,
part.
but
Yeah.
you
One of the
have to be
issues
able
I
to
had in
pet
the
it.
first
So yes,
season, I just
absolutely.
didn't feel that
Important.
incentive.
Yeah. And so
really
you can
feel it
have
for
two skills
The vampire
on
season,
your
however, Baldur's
Seneschal
Gate may have
construct.
had something to do with that.
Those are given to the construct using what is called a governing stone. And
Just
governing
during that season,
stones
I'm still very
are
much
these
just
semi-precious
Baldur's
stones that you
Gate.
can find throughout your adventures in Season 3. They drop in a lot of those repeatable activities I mentioned, which we'll cover soon. And there's lots of different types. I think there's about 12 that you can slot in. We weren't satisfied with that, though. Because, 12 skills, it's cool, don't get me wrong, but we wanted to allow players really to modify those skills however they saw fit. And so we've also developed 27 different tuning stones, another type of stone, that you can slot in then to modify that skill. And so you've got those 2 governing stones, and then each governing stone has 3 different tuning stones that can modify it and just create really wild combinations of powers that allow players to experiment how they see fit.
Lightning more OP?
And so kind of with that breadth of powers, then you've got a lot of different options for being able to kind of round out your build and create new types of ways to kill demons.
With 76 for sure.
That's very cool. It sounds really cool.
Yeah.
And I think we might actually have
I think we do.
some footage of what some of these would be.
So let me tell you what's going on here. So we've brought up our construct
For a
menu.
lower price of $5.99.
And this is in the inventory UI, but it's its own separate UI, so your construct is not going to take up your traditional inventory space. And this construct has 2 governing stones equipped right now. One is called Focus Fire, which was that beam of fire that was coming out. The other one is called Lightning Bolt, and you can see it shooting some lightning bolts. Like I said, 2 skills, not too bad. You're killing some folks here. But we wanna amp things up a bit. So in addition to being able just to get stones as drops from activities, you can also craft stones.
Okay.
And so we've gone to our gate hall here, and we're crafting a new stone. We're going to see what we get. In this case, it's a pummel stone, a governing stone. I already have that skill, so it's just going to count towards XP, towards leveling up pummel. And I'm going to kit out my Seneschal a little bit different. So we've got Focus Fire, and I think the first thing we're going to add is Voluminous Support. Fancy way of saying that it's going to increase the area of effect for your attacks. We're also going to add Electrocution. Now, even though Focus Fire is a fire attack, Electrocution is going to add some lightning damage to it, and it's also going to add a little bit of chance of stun. And so now we're dipping our toes into this crowd control. And then finally, we're going to add Arcing Support. Now, Arcing Support's really cool. Arcing Support allows your abilities to chain. And so now let's see what that power is going to look like when we bring it back up.
In terms of there's just more stuff to do in the season.
So here now, you can see that Focus Fire is chaining amongst enemies. You can see that some of them are getting stunned, little electricity around them.
They are.
And it had a bigger area of effect. Similarly, if we were to apply some of these to the lightning bolt attack,
I don't really see myself
let's say we gave it multi-shot in that arcing support, now it can just blast through enemies.
Barely,
it's got a lot of options.
So we're kind of seeing some examples of what players can potentially do with their Seneschal constructs and actually make adjustments and modify them to kind of suit your specific playstyle. I think a big question is can you actually add maybe some status effects or things like that? Like, can you potentially add in a tuning stone that may make enemies like vulnerable, for instance?
Yes, absolutely. So again, we wanted to give all of you a lot of different options to play with. We want this to be a toy that you can experiment with. And so that means that, some of the examples we showed were more damage dealing, where the Seneschal's doing the damage. But then we also want to give players the ability to just kind of set up, enemies for you to go in and, land the killing blow. So there are a lot of different support stones that can make things vulnerable, bleed things,
with a game like
them,
ESO, I'd really
kill
have
them.
to.
I mean, the list goes on. I mean, pretty much any of the, the verbs in the game.
So your possibilities are massive with what you can do with your Seneschal. And one thing, this is actually something that Sean White, who was in the video, our Dev Insights video before the actual start of the stream, pointed out yesterday on social media to players that were asking a little bit more, or for more clarity on some items. But the Seneschal construct actually does scale 1-to-1 with like specific like secondary type of stats, or even things that are associated with your actual character. So things like attack rating or crit chance, for instance.
Yeah, it was very important for the Seneschal to feel as if it was an extension of you, if you wanted to be that. Also, we really didn't want to get a Seneschal that was just outclassed when you got to level 100, because then where's the fun, right?
I think that's where I'm at.
So yes, absolutely, the Seneschal will become more powerful as you become more powerful.
Awesome. Yeah. So Seneschal constructs obviously playing a huge role, and with the construct and you now being able to customize and change things up for how you want to play, there's new challenges and that are associated with the season 3 season of the construct, and one of them is vaults. Which I know we do want to dive a little bit more into specifically. Do you guys want to talk a little bit more about vaults?
Sure. Vaults are a new dungeon for the season, and we have 4 types of vaults.
Kind of vault.
Like I said before, they are this extension of Malphus. And because of that, he has turned the hazards inside of them into enemies in themselves. We wanted to explore the fantasy of a environment that was hostile, and it was ready to kill you often, and so they're filled with hazards that spinning fires of death, floor plates that come alive, arrows that shoot out of the walls, and with our construct enemies. I think we have some footage of the vaults as well to kind of walk you through it.
Get our little spider constructs.
Yeah, constructs in them per usual. These, because they're so hostile and dangerous, we wanted them to have a good be lucrative and be risk reward. So we have a lot of different loot. I think a little bit later in the video there's like an explosion of gold, and that's just going to be common. And our dungeon designers, typically with the dungeon experience, you get a pop-up and you're like, okay, it's telling me to kill all the enemies, I know what to do. The dungeon designers wanted to explore a little bit of I'm not sure what I'm going to be experiencing. I have to go
when they first talked about the traps.
And so the objectives are vague a little bit on purpose. But typically vaults end in this, what we call informally as a death room, a danger room, where it is everything is being thrown at you, all the traps in the vault accumulated in one large room.
I wish we had like the,
we're really excited to
it's a
bit of new gameplay, dodging traps and
ability, and it was
and
kind
this is
of
one
like
of the danger rooms, for example.
But you would
we're really excited to get people to dive into this and experiment.
And obviously with vaults like tons of traps here. I know that there's some gameplay associated with kind of avoiding them and rewards associated with those as well.
Yes, absolutely. So certainly Madeline has outlined a lot of the risks associated with vaults. I mean, those hazards are going to be pretty unforgiving. But if we're putting a lot of risks in front of you guys, we want to make sure there's a lot of rewards too. So you saw a little bit of it already with like some of the basic chests in the vaults have been souped up, so they're more rewarding than those chests you'd find in other dungeons. But there's another mechanic at play too, and that's called Zoltan's Warding. So as you enter vault, after you've cleared some of Malphus's influence out of the vault, you can find this statue of Zoltan Kulle, because of course Zoltan Kulle,
he has to have a statue.
He's got to have a statue in every vault. I mean, that's just how he rolls, right? So if you're able to find a special, it's called a Pearl of Warding, you can offer that to the statue, and in return, the statue is going to grant you Zoltan's warding. This is a buff. It doesn't really help your combat too much, but what it does is it gives you additional rewards, and you can see right there, there's kind of that glowing one to the side with the icon. That is a ward-woven chest that contains extra rewards if you're able to keep that buff.
I didn't realize
and so as you get better and better at the vaults, you're going to start basically challenging yourself to keep the buff. And you keep the buff by avoiding the hazards. And so the gameplay really becomes focused on trying to make sure that you're moving as cleanly as possible through the vaults, in addition to fighting the enemies in order to get the highest payout.
And I, you know, if you make like mistakes, like I know I will make mistakes.
Yes,
like
I will.
I am a person that gets hit by like every single trap under the sun.
I feel like you play a lot of solo.
Are there ways of being able to like help mitigate like some of that?
Yes, you can have multiple stacks of buffs. So you know, one pearl is I believe 3 stacks. And so if you want to go grind the overworld activity with pearls. Like, okay, I have a bunch of stacks. I have a really good chance. And if you don't make it and no stacks left, there were 2 chests at the end, you still always get a loot. But the super great loot comes from Zoltan's warding.
Yep.
Got it. So yeah, so there are opportunities for players to actually get multiple chests.
Yes.
And you can actually have multiple stacks of warding to essentially create a buffer if you know you're planning on playing a little bit more sloppy.
If you really want to brute force your way through, you can, but you've got to invest a little more time.
Got it. No, that makes sense. That's great to know. And like I guess with the Pearls in the Overworld activity, I know that has like to earn those types of buffs. Like how do players actually end up
Right. So that's our second repeatable activity that I mentioned, which is the Arcane Tremors.
And ride it until it dies.
And so Arcane Tremors is a new type of overworld activity that's really localized around the entrances of the vault. So remember how we were talking about Malphas, and Malphas's sights have become grander now that he controls all the vaults. And so all the constructs are starting to spill out into Sanctuary and cause trouble. Additionally, some new types of hazards have unearthed and are starting to appear around the vaults. And so it's your job to every so often go in and beat back, you know, all these construct invasions or incursions, essentially, that are creating the tremors. And so I can talk a little bit about this activity. We can queue up some video for that too. And so here you've arrived and you see basically a roaming band of constructs. And you know, obviously, it's your job to go in and kill them and send them back to where they came from. But that's not all you need to do within this activity. What you're looking to do to really advance the activity is look for these cores that you can use to draw out Malphas's most powerful lieutenants. And so you're getting a core here from an obelisk, which is an overworld hazard, and you've got to make sure to not get hit by that. And if you collect enough cores, you're able to deposit them in a brazier, which you can see on screen here glowing. And the brazier is a signal that you are now challenging one of the heralds of Malphas. And the herald of Malphas you see appearing right there. You and hopefully a bunch of other of your friends will, you know, gang up and defeat the herald of Malphas. Get some cool rewards in addition to those pearls that we were talking about before, which you can then use to supercharge your rewards.
You want to hear about the new?
Awesome. Yeah, and I know like this being an overworld activity, you know, one thing that, and this is based off of feedback that we've gotten from the community as well. Even with Season of Blood, there was Blood Harvest, which were overworld activities, and now there's kind of activities everywhere. There's and they all have different various rewards for the player, whether that's vaults, whether that's doing some of the activities on the overworld for this season. You have opportunities of actually being able to get rewards kind of all over the place.
Our intention is for season 1 you kind of stayed in tunnels, and season 2 you kind of stayed in the overworld most of the time. We didn't want to make the players feel like they're stuck and they can only stay in one place and this is it. So the intention is you do some dungeons,
what's been your favorite season so far?
Maybe do some bounties along the way.
We're just watching the Diablo Developer Direct right now. The new season starts next month. Season of the Construct.
Another thing that I know we briefly touched on, which was vaults and how
pet.
there are
Which
nightmare variations of that.
Yes.
And that's something that
you got a meeting today,
is
Pat?
additional
Hope it goes well.
to just going through vaults as well. So
Yep. Yeah, the vaults are
Arcane
fully
Tremors,
dungeons in that
too.
respect. And so we have the ability and have made nightmare versions of all of these dungeons. And the nightmare versions of the dungeons obviously have more difficult combat, but they also have a lot more rewards. So those chests we had talked about before, the ward-woven chests, you actually get more of those as you advance in the nightmare system. So then your vault runs become even more and more rewarding in that case.
yeah, and like how would you access something like that specifically?
Right, so we're going to use the Nightmare Dungeon Sigil system, but we've created a way that the game can now award unique seasonal sigils, and in this case they're called vault sigils. And so we did that because, you know, for those folks who really want to focus in on vault play, you can earn the vault sigils, and now you can target farm the vaults instead of leaving it up to random chance.
Very cool.
Awesome. One last dungeon, the
yes.
Mega Uber dungeon. It's kind of it's very large.
Took the
It's
servers
the
down,
best
and the same with
features of
Star
all
Wars
the other
Galaxies.
vaults put into
You
one,
Donkey
and that
King
is where
play
Malthus
Back 4 Blood
lives.
till they
And
stopped
so you will
updating
be
it.
quest line, you'll defeat him, and then
It was a
Uber
shame
version
about
of
Back
him
4 Blood,
post
wasn't
quest
it?
line for the rest of the season.
And
You're
so
the
there is
head
an
flurry
Uber version of
rogue, your
Malthus
heist crit is
that is
1.8
even more
mil.
challenging than the quest
I just did
version.
a 100
And
nightmare dungeon with it yesterday.
he kind of
Nice.
sits
I mean, I'd be surprised if that
parallel to the
I'd be
current
worried
boss
if they
ladder,
couldn't
so
do the
you
hun-
don't
the-
need
that
to do
dungeon,
him for the
yeah.
boss ladder, but it's certainly going to be a bonus
hitting those
for
kind
you.
of
if you do.
numbers.
Awesome. So yeah,
Rogues are
way
really strong.
more additional content in this season, and we have a lot of different ways of being able to play and take your character. You can do it activities on the overworld. You can actually use those activities to help you out in the vaults. You can do nightmare variations of the vaults. We have Uber vaults now, or with a larger, more difficult vault with
keep people
you know,
playing
a
after
new
they've got all
boss
their
here
seasonal
for
goodies.
season 3 as well. And this is
Which
just
is good.
a little bit of what we have for season 3. With, you know, of course we have Seneschal Constructs, which will be around
there's
with
so
you all
much
the
you can
time.
experiment
And
with, right?
with that, we of course have
feel like
one
that's
additional
part of the
component to
one
season
more.
3,
That's
and,
right.
and that's with the Gauntlet and Leaderboard. And I will caveat, like, I know we mentioned this in the blog earlier this week. So the Gauntlet and Leaderboard are actually not going to launch at the start of this season. And that's really because, you know, we want players to actually go through the season and actually grow and learn the season with their character before we actually launch the leaderboards. So we will have information on when we actually do launch Gauntlet and Leaderboards really soon. But Dan, I know, wants to kind of dive deeper into what leaderboards are and what the Gauntlet is for players so they have a better idea.
Yeah, so a lot of you saw a taste at BlizzCon of what the Gauntlet and the Trials leaderboards are going to be. And so we can go in a bit more depth here and hopefully start to answer some of your questions.
Usually the aim to power level.
So the Gauntlet
can get to that end
is
game.
another new dungeon type. The
You
Gauntlet
wanna get past 50
is
ASAP.
something that unlocks with the overall leaderboard feature in World Tier 4. And basically that means that it's targeting more of your in-game players at this point. Folks who have really decided on a build, they're starting to really round it out. It's become more powerful, and now they want to prove their might, not just to themselves, but, you know, obviously to show off and have bragging rights. So the Gauntlet itself, new type of dungeon, is kind of based around 3 different principles. The first is that it is fixed seed. The second is that it is non-linear. And thirdly, like I said, it's there to prove your might. And so I'm going to kind of unpack that a little bit. Fixed seed means really that it is trying to be as fair as possible for everyone.
Chain lightning might
Everyone
be a thing again
gets
next season.
the same gauntlet every week. And so you're not
just talking
fishing
about that
for
earlier.
the best roll of a rift or something like that.
Yeah.
It's really a
remember when the
level
game
playing
came
field
out,
at this
yeah, there was
point.
some
And
data
let me
mined
tell you, that was
for
kind of hard to do. Our
about
game is not very good at
maybe when
doing
the
one
DLC
thing.
hits.
It loves to do random things, but in this case, we felt
But I'd be very
competition
surprised if we
demanded
don't
that
get
it be
more
fair.
tiers.
Yeah.
I remember they just kept adding them and adding them.
Non-linear
in Diablo 3.
is really all about how the dungeon is laid
As
out.
the
It is
sort of
not a
power
dungeon
creep
where you
pushed higher and
travel
higher.
from the beginning to the end. It's not about trying to get to the end as quickly as possible. It's about the choices you make while you're within that dungeon. And so the layout basically allows you to develop all manner of strategies. I mean, when we had people testing the dungeons, the gauntlets, there would be arguments over, or not even arguments, sometimes people would just kind of say, what was the best path you took? Oh, I think I can do better than that. And so a lot of it is trying to figure out your way through the dungeon each week. And then finally, proving your might is about killing enemies, and gathering what we're calling proofs of might, and then trying to get the highest score possible. So it's not about just going fast. Certainly going fast helps. But it's really about how effective and efficient are you at combat. And that's going to be reflected in your score. And so at the end of a gauntlet, you're going to get a score. And you're going to say, okay, can I do better than that? And we're going to say, well, you know, we've got a couple targets you can try and hit, but really you're going to be shooting for those leaderboards.
Yeah.
But let's circle back on strategies a little bit. Yeah. And I think we've got a little bit of video to help with that. So here's the gauntlet right here. It, for all intents and purposes, looks like a normal dungeon. But we said, again, it's World Tier 4. It's targeting level 100 players. So we're going to throw a dungeon boss at you right at the start.
Yeah, and I will note, like, I know we're mentioning level 100. Technically, you can do Gauntlet before level 100. It's just probably more efficient to do it at level 100 just because it is an endgame activity and it'll be challenging.
I mean, if you think you're ready to tackle the Gauntlet below level 100, by all means. It's just, it's not tuned that way. And so here, you're fighting, you know, the Tomb Lord, and he's pretty powerful, but you're more powerful. In that case, you defeated him. Now, the cool thing about defeating that boss is it doesn't drop loot, it drops a shrine. And that shrine can then be used as a power-up to, you know, further increase your power within the Gauntlet. And there's other types of new shrines within the Gauntlet, too. We just hit previously here a Pillar of Proving. And that's a shrine that actually respawns all the enemies around you. Now, why would you want to do that? Because you want to kill them again and get their score, right? So we've got the Pillar of Proving, we've got the Pillar of Glory, which is a way to basically get a multiplier on your score. And we've even got chests scattered all throughout the dungeon that you can earn keys for. And you see keys up in the corner on the HUD there. And those keys give you even additional score. So a lot of the strategy of a gauntlet is, you know, as a solo player at least, trying to find the most optimal path through it and use that as a way to, you know, take your really cool build and get the highest score possible.
And, you know, something we saw in the footage, obviously the first thing we ran into was a boss, like Tomb Lord right there. And so you could technically take that Tomb Lord further into the dungeon if you want to.
Yeah. You're not stuck in the room.
You're not stuck in the room.
You can draw that Tomb Lord right next to another shrine and do a combo and then start building up even higher score.
Exactly, and so that's the thing I think with gauntlets, like we're going to start to see some really, and because they change weekly and these leaderboards will be weekly, we're going to see players kind of create different combinations of what's the best way of optimizing for the best score possible? You know, taking advantage of the shrines, taking advantage of the chests, taking advantage of, like, should I drag a bunch of enemies over here just because I know I'll have a shrine ready and stuff like that. So it's going to actually be really interesting to see, and I think it adds even more complexity to the idea once you start adding additional players to it as well.
Yeah, no, we had a lot of fun testing this, especially in parties, because parties can then start dividing and conquering what you need to do in order to get that high score. And so we expect party scores to be, frankly, ridiculous.
Parties, got to play with friends there for that and stuff. And so I know with leaderboards, when you're looking at leaderboards, like I think we actually have an image of the leaderboards here, just like a quick throw up here. But you can see, based off of how leaderboards are, there is an overall leaderboard. For players, but then you have the ability of actually being able to filter by class, so you can see where you are within your own class.
Yeah, so each class does have a unique ladder, and that's those first 5 icons you see right there represent each of those classes if you're playing solo. And that was really important to us because we were talking about that component of fairness that we want to make sure that, you know, the competition is a level playing field. We understand that, you know, a ball lightning sork, for example, probably shouldn't be compared to, you know, a rogue or something like that. And so we allow each class to compete independently. And then there are also ladders for each of the different party sizes, because obviously a 4-person party probably is going to be able to cover more ground than a 2-person party. And so that actually creates 8 ladders with leaderboards right there. And then we also multiply that by 2 because we have separate ladders for our hardcore players, because they are, well, they're competing on hardcore mode. They should get their own ladders.
Exactly, exactly.
And then we also have filters and leaderboards for the different platforms.
Yeah, so you can actually compare yourself. If you're playing on Xbox, you can compare yourself to other players on Xbox. Same thing for PC, which is great to see. Like, we have the option of being able to kind of really filter out and see where we stack against other players in the leaderboard.
And that all gets rolled up into a global leaderboard as well. And all of those leaderboards we mentioned, you are also able to filter by friend and by clan if you want to be able just to see the people you're familiar with and not compete with kind of the community at large.
Yeah, so it's catered and customized to like allow players to actually really get into like almost like a granular type of look of how they may compete against, you know, just maybe everyone, or maybe just everyone on Xbox, or maybe just your friends, or maybe just people in your clan, which is really cool to see. And of course, with leaderboards and, you know, tackling leaderboards, as you mentioned, it is a separate dungeon. There are kind of rewards associated with leaderboards as well.
That's right. So be straight up here, though. The ultimate reward of a leaderboard is glory and bragging rights.
Exactly.
And so, you know, only the top 1,000 players during a week are going to be able to get on the leaderboards. And it's going to be a pretty big accomplishment. But we got to do a little bit better than that. And so not only do we have the weekly leaderboards, we have the Hall of the Ancients, which is the top 10 players from every ladder each week get written to the Hall of the Ancients. Now, unlike the weekly leaderboard, the Hall of the Ancients don't reset. And so that is a permanent record of everyone who is the best of the best each week, each season. And it's not going to ever get erased, going to be there forevermore.
So yeah, you always have bragging rights if you ever want to show to other people, like, even if you come back like in a later season or something, you can always go like, trust me, I know what I'm doing type of thing. Yeah.
But we've got some additional rewards too. We've got some neat cosmetics for folks who, you know, maybe don't hit the Hall of the Ancients, but they hit another threshold on the leaderboards. And we've also introduced another type of reward called seals.
Now, along the way.
I like to think of myself like I could compete, but I know better than that. I am never going to be ranking on those leaderboards ever. And so the seals are meant for players, frankly, like me, who just, you know, not ready for the leaderboards yet. And so what the seals are is, you know, let me describe it this way. So we've got that ladder we were describing, right? And each rung of that ladder is going to have a seal associated with it. And so as you get better and better each week for that gauntlet, you're going to be able to earn seals and start ranking up in terms of the seals that you have. And it's going to go from kind of, I believe it's called Seal of the Blooded, which is the baseline, all the way up to Seal of the Worthy. And once you hit Seal of the Worthy, now you're ready, according to the game, to be able to compete in the leaderboard. So for myself, I'm probably just going to be trying to get Seal of the Worthy each week. But it's going to be pretty cool. Seal of the Worthy is still something that's pretty cool that you can display to other players to let them know that, you know, you're still pretty good at the leadorboards. It's just maybe you're not on the leaderboard itself.
I believe in you, Dan.
Yeah.
We believe in you.
Yeah, belief is great, but I know my limits. So
so lots of cool stuff for season 3. Gauntlet being a huge part of it. As we mentioned right at the beginning, that Gauntlet won't be at the start of the season, but we do plan. It is a season 3 thing. It is coming in season 3. We just want to make sure that players can actually grow their characters at the beginning of season 3. It's not like a speed run type of thing, just to jump into Gauntlet, especially on the first week of Gauntlet. If we were to have it with the launch of the actual season. So players will hear more news about when Gauntlet actually hits really soon. We'll have information on that, and we'll be sharing that with players. But thank you guys for sharing a little bit about some of those Season 3 components. Of course, with a new season, there's a new season journey, and there is a new battle pass. There's a lot of feedback that we got from players and some data that we actually saw from players related to season journey and some optimizations that we've kind of made to make it a little bit more friendly, a little bit better for players specifically. I know one big thing that we ended up hitting on specifically was, for instance, like one of the components for season journey last season was like, hey, you need to kill 10 people in PvP, which made it a little difficult for some people, and we even saw that in some of our data from players.
We were looking over the data, we're listening to your feedback, and
challenge on each of them.
PvP objectives just aren't
content, and
that
it might encourage
popular.
people who
And
otherwise
so,
wouldn't do that content to try
because
it, but
we're
as long as they can
always
kind of
keeping an eye on improving the game and improving the objectives for the season journey, we decided to modify some of the PvP objectives that exist, and then there's one in particular that we ripped out. It just had such a low completion rate.
So there's been optimizations based off of player feedback and of course data that we've seen from that end. And then I know that one big thing is like some of the rewards associated with season journey. We kind of amped them up a little bit.
No, it's super important for us to make sure that the season journey is rewarding. I mean, it's one of the backbones of our season, and if folks feel as if they're not compelled to go in and participate, then that's a miss for us. So we went back and really took a close look at the rewards and amped them up in a couple of key ways. The first way we amped them up is we made sure that it was a good vehicle for earning some of those governing stones and tuning stones we talked about. And so you actually get an advanced look for some of those governing and tuning stones if you play the season journey. And so you'll get the drops a little bit sooner, and that'll give you a little more of a leg up with speccing out your Seneschal. The other thing we did is we looked at those later chapters, Champion and Slayer and Destroyer. And we said, wow, those still don't feel rewarding enough. I mean, we're asking players to do a lot there. We're asking them to go into the boss ladder, defeat bosses, really invest a lot of time. So we wanted to make sure those rewards felt meaty. And so we added a number of ancestral legendaries there, including some that are 925 eye power. Nice. So hopefully that will be something that folks will really enjoy, and get more folks wanting to take that journey with the season.
Also, something slightly related to season journey and feedback is we got some feedback that previously for our quest lines you had to complete certain levels of season journey to even progress in the quest line. Got a lot of feedback. People didn't like it. We don't want people not to feel good with it. So starting season 3, you can just do it start to finish. There's no season journey break.
Yep.
Very
cool. It's awesome. No longer says level up to chapter 3 of the season journey.
Most definitely. It's and again, community feedback has been so helpful for us, especially as we have been iterating on seasons and going from season to season. So it's been super great. Another big thing that's coming with at least season 3 is it's a cosmetic that I think a lot of players have been looking forward to. First, let's actually jump into all this. Actually, can we throw that graphic back up? There we go. So there are a lot of new cosmetics coming. One big thing I know that was really popular with season 2 was the town portal.
Love those town portals.
Everyone is rolling with the blood portal. I am not rolling with the blood portal. I'm like the one person that's rolling with like the angelic wings one. If there's other people like that, like shout out to those people. You're part of my crew. But there are also cool new skins and of course new emotes that are coming with the new premium battle pass for season 3. And then one item that I think we actually haven't really added to since launch is emblems specifically. Emblems are kind of like on your character title or on your character on the character bar for your screen. I have been rocking the Tree of Whispers one for a long time. I'm going to put it into retirement because we are adding new ones here. I believe we're adding, I think it's 3, I believe.
Yeah,
for
so
season.
You will get 2 new emblems per your adventures in the season journey, and then 3 through the battle pass.
Awesome. So yeah, we're adding in emblems. I know that's something that people were asking about because we've always had the 3 at launch. Yep. And so this now gives you the opportunity of actually collecting additional emblems in Season 3. And of course, Season Blessings are also getting adjusted for the new season because I know with the last season, of course, they were specifically catered towards Season of Blood. Yep. This one is, of course, being updated for Season 3, including items that affect like tuning stones, for instance, specifically for players. So Season Blessings will be getting updated for this new season. And then I know that one thing that people, and something I mentioned in the beginning, which is the boss ladder items, that is most definitely coming back for Season 3, so players can expect to have the opportunity of being able to tackle through the boss ladder. And we actually do have some optimizations that we'll be talking about here really shortly related to being able to jump into boss ladders.
So, there's free and
lots
then
of
premium,
stuff for Season 3.
Yes.
Tons of stuff for Season 3. Biggest season yet for Diablo 4.
Usually I just get standard because premium will have like an emote, and I just don't see the point.
It begins on January 23rd, where players will be able to actually jump in and create new characters for the season. So
that's what last season was like.
Dan, Madeline, thank you guys so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Really appreciate it. And then I know for the next part of our broadcast, we're actually going to use some amazing tech. First time we're doing this because we now have 2 different sets. One here in Albany, which is themed like Cathedral of Light. We're in a colder environment. It is cold outside in Albany. I'm not used to that as a California person.
I'm sorry about that.
I landed lots of snow. But it's like Cathedral of Light, Fractured Peaks, you know, kind of feeling. And of course, we'll be going to Irvine, where we're in like the, I hate to say the bits of hell. Irvine is not like hell, I promise. I lived there. But our studio is like that. And we are going to be joined by Adam Jackson. Adam,
you're looking
hopefully
at a couple
you're there.
Years
there
down
you
the
are.
line.
Hello.
Hey, I hope you can hear me. I'm always paranoid.
I can hear you live from Irvine.
There for like an hour,
Adam, you know, they always call it the Adam and Adam show whenever you and I are on. And of course, we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the balance changes coming with Season 3 and what players can expect. And a little bit about some of the philosophy as well of what you have kind of, or what you want to actually present to the players of what they can expect
Diablo, what we've done is the Xbox Developer Direct plus their developer stream mixed together, it seems.
Yeah, totally. Got lots to talk about today, so I'm pretty excited.
Okay, he's going to give
So
us
I'm really going to be going
here.
over 3 different major topics today when we talk about what's coming in for Season 3 and beyond. So the first one is, I think, what everybody expects. We have some new class updates coming. A little bit of a caveat here, though. I'm not going to be going over every single note or every single update, but I am going to give you kind of a high level of what's coming for every class. But you'll definitely find out some more stuff when you look into the patch notes and see other things we're doing. And patch notes are going to be coming out very soon, like tomorrow.
Tomorrow, actually, yeah. They're coming out tomorrow, so players can expect to see them tomorrow. We'll give you a preview today, but you'll see the full patch notes tomorrow.
Correct. So it'll be a preview, but you'll still get an idea of kind of what we're thinking and what we're doing. Next, I want to do a brief explanation of kind of how we currently view class balance. The game's gone through a lot. We've been out for a little while. We also have the Gauntlet coming. So, a lot of changes coming, and we're going to be adapting to it.
It was pre-recorded.
And then the last thing is kind of a roadmap for our plans for seasonal updates going forward. I kind of want to give people some more concrete ideas
I don't really see
of
myself
when we
going
update
back
and
to
how we
ESO
update.
anytime soon.
So first, we're going to start with the class updates. So first, for the Barbarian, we got a few things going on.
A lot.
The first one is some big improvements to Charge. Right now, Charge is, you need a bunch of different legendaries and other effects to make it really kind of sing and be powerful.
You miss the
and we're going to be moving a lot of power to the baseline skill from legendaries and other effects. It's going to do a lot more damage now than it did before. We might be insane, but I think it's really cool, and so we're going to do it. But you can see here, kind of Season 2, what the damage numbers look like. I did like 1,200, and then Season 3, it's like 12,000. So, like 8x or something like that. So it's going to do a lot of damage now, baseline. Of course, legendaries are adjusted to compensate, but yeah, you should have a lot more fun with it out the gate. We're also doing a lot of buffs to key passives, such as Walking Arsenal.
Yeah, I think that's the issue
to kind of keep them
up
to date with the one that most people pick.
Because I haven't played for over a year.
And then also we're adjusting a lot of shouts. We got a lot of feedback that players don't really like feeling kind of mandatory that they put all the different shouts on their bar. I played a Barbarian last season. I know how it feels. So we're trying to kind of walk this line where we want it to be fun, and you can put all the shouts on your bar, but it's not required, and you kind of feel like there's good reasons not to. So we've done some changes there.
You feel like everything you've worked
and,
towards,
if I were a betting man, I'd say I'd put my money into, charge and maybe some key passes as far as things that I think you'll be happy to see. So I think you'll be kind of happy with our changes there.
Adam, whenever we have you on, you have to talk about class
we get the Diablo team to book pistols for Fallout.
I do like my stonks.
Yes.
So next, let's go over to the Sorcerer. Again, these aren't all the changes. These are just high-level stuff. First one is, we know that Sorcerer players have kind of had some pain trying to apply vulnerable to enemies, so we're giving it to Lightning Spear now. So just baseline, Lightning Spear, when it crits enemies, will now make them vulnerable. So you have another avenue to is a Frost Nova to consistently apply it. We also have some buffs to various Paragon legendary nodes that you can look forward to that kind of open up or make some things stronger. And last but not least, for you Meteor fans, Meteor build is getting quite a few updates and buffs across the board. We also are giving them a new unique that kind of changes how you think about it and how it plays. That I'll be showing off in a little bit. So
can't wait to see it. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, totally. So again, here Meteor players and Elemental Summoner players, like the ones that like to use the different conjurations. We got some stuff there in the legendary or the Paragon legendary node space that should make you happy. And next we've got the Rogue. So we've got quite a few changes coming to the Rogue. There's a lot of buffs to really underused skill and skill upgrades. A lot of people use Twisting Blades and Poison Imbue and things like that, and we're really targeting some of the things that people aren't using so much and giving them some love.
I go,
in particular, we're targeting range builds to make them more viable and fun. I think it's the Precision Key passive is getting a bit of a rework, and a lot of stuff coming for things like Penetrating Shot and stuff like that. And we're also updating pretty much all the range uniques, including Windforce, Sky Hunter, and Eaglehorn. They're going to be quite a bit more usable and powerful, I think. So here, again, some buffs coming really to range builds in general, and also Caltrops, which is a bit of an underused skill that we're giving some love. And then we got the Druid next. So here we've got some buffs coming to various spirit boons that aren't seeing as much play as others. As an example, Prickle Skin is the one that gives you some thorns. The amount there is being increased by a lot. You can see here in Season 2, it gives about 300 at this level. And then Season 3, I think it's doing about 4x what it used to. So some big buffs coming to various spirit boons that are underused.
Likely they did need a buff.
And then also Rabies is getting quite a few upgrades. We got a new legendary coming in for Rabies. That's pretty neat. And then we also have a buff to enhance Rabies. So for all of you that love spreading your poisons among enemies, you're going to be a little bit happy with Season 3. So here again, we got some buffs. I put Rabies here, but also Lightning Storm, and we'll be showing off a new unique there too. I'm actually probably going to play Lightning Storm in Season 3 because it's got a really cool unique coming that we're going to show. So you'll have that to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you to show these uniques. I think people are gonna probably cater their builds for those classes to some of those uniques.
Yeah, they're pretty. I mean, we have uniques coming for every class. We're just gonna be showing those two off today. Again, not everything, but they're pretty cool. Last but not least, we got Necromancer. So Blood and Iron Golems. So fun fact for those of you who didn't know, but the Bone Golem, when it attacks enemies with its normal attack, it actually cleaves and hits nearby enemies. And the Blood and Iron Golems didn't, and they were very jealous and unhappy. And so we just decided to give it to them. So now all your golems, your golem friends are going to AoE cleave when they attack. I didn't put in a note here, but also just golems in general are getting some buffs. And I think even some other minion buffs across the board. But you can see those in the patch notes.
We decided to help them out there.
And then a quality of life change coming is that Bone Prison, friendly players and your minions can now move through them. We've seen some situations, I know I've played it, where you'll Bone Prison an enemy and you're a minion build, and then your minions actually can't get to the enemy, or they want to go somewhere else and the Bone Prison actually blocks them. So now you and your friends will just be able to go through it.
That's a bit of a problem.
It'll be a lot more usable. And then we got a lot of Bone Spirit upgrades, including a redesign of one of the aspects, which is the aspect of Swelling Curse. I think Bone Spirit players are going to be really happy. So you can see here on the left is kind of the old version of Bone Spirit, and it basically dealt increased damage based on distance traveled. And the gameplay there was you want to be kind of far away from your enemy and then let it slowly creep towards them. It would do more damage.
Okay, so
but it turns out Bone Spirit players really just kind of shotgun it and try and get next to enemies. So it wasn't really very usable or good most of the time.
Blood all
so
the
now
way.
we changed it where this legendary gives you everything a Bone Spirit player would want. You get more crit chance on Bone Spirit, which means its CDR goes down thanks to its upgrades.
Better than it was
and then
before.
when you hit enemies, your max essence is temporarily increased, which means more damage on Bone Spirit. So this really just kind of gives you everything that you want. And so here again, we got some buffs coming to Bone Spirit and to Golems and the Necromancers. So if you use either of those, I think you'll be eating pretty well this season. And again, these are just some examples. We got a lot more stuff in the patch notes for everybody. Next, let's go over the couple of new uniques. So the first one is that Meteor one I talked about. So this unique is the Starfall Coordinate. It basically being like a spender skill into a charge-based skill. So now you can actually run Meteor with other things like Fireball or Incinerate or Firewall, and it makes it into a very powerful cooldown-based skill that summons a bunch of meteors. It also synergizes with your enchantment.
It feels like a punishment.
And you basically just drop a lot more meteors around, like carpet bombing enemies with them. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, but at least it's over now, right?
And then the next one is the new Druid unique. This is for Lightning Storm. Basically, what this does is it makes your Lightning Storm grow quicker, so you can get up to that maximum amount. I think it's 4 or 5 stacks really quickly. And then also, when your Lightning Bolts crit, an additional Lightning Bolt will come down and do more damage. And that additional Lightning Bolt also it's still a Lightning Storm Lightning Bolt, so you get all of your synergies with all of your other effects. So basically, it turns into lightning everywhere. Is just pretty cool when you combine it with all of the other lightning-based legendaries and stuff. Next, now that we're done with the class updates, I kind of want to talk a little bit about how we've been viewing class balance and how we're going to be thinking about going forward in Season 3 and beyond. So one of the things that we've been talking about a lot on the team is kind of thinking about how should we be updating the game when it comes to buffing and nerfing classes and builds, and then also how often should we update it. And I kind of want to get a little into the weeds here to understand where we're coming from. So first is that we want to balance kind of two competing concepts that are always at odds with each other that we believe players want that really make for a fun game and a fun experience, particularly in Diablo 4. But this is honestly kind of true for most games as far as when they update when it comes to balance. So the first one is we believe that players really want to feel like you all can have fun with powerful builds that you discover. Kind of a core part of playing these games is, you think outside the box or you discover something, or maybe even you follow a guide, but you find something that's really cool and awesome, and then you want to go wreck demons and kill stuff with it, right? You want to feel like you have this sense of permanence where you can make something, it's going to be cool, and you can go and have fun with it.
Oh, just
but then on the flip side. Here, we also believe that players want the meta to refresh so that the same things aren't obviously the best choices forever, right? Looking back at Season 2, easy thing to point to is Ball Lightning, right? Ball Lightning was really fun and awesome. Newsflash, it was also kind of bugged.
Yeah, then the socks get
but,
bored.
During Season 2, a lot of people had a lot of fun with it. But we believe that, if we just kept things like Ball Lightning or Hoda Barb or these things that are really powerful for many seasons over and over, not only Sorcerer players in the case of Ball Lightning, but even players of other classes would start to feel this kind of gravitational pull and a lot of pressure to play the things that are obviously more powerful than other things. And then players would start to feel pigeonholed into being forced to play very specific things. And so kind of this dichotomy of these two competing factors where you want to have a sense of permanence and finding things and having fun and not being afraid that Blizzard's going to take it away from you.
It was really cool.
But you also want to have a sense of, the same thing isn't strong forever. And you look at the leaderboards or you look on forums or wherever you look for your feedback, and everybody just is playing the same things.
The whole leaderboard is just Ball Lightning, right? Ball Lightning, Ball Lightning.
So in this vein, some of the larger changes that you're going to see in Season 3 that are kind of bug fixes or nerfs.
Oh, it's getting a nerf.
And, before a lot during BlizzCon and before we've talked about how we want to give players a heads up of what's coming. So these are the things you're going to see at the launch of Season 3 that are kind of they're having their power lowered. The first one is the Ball Lightning enchantment or enhancement. Sorry,
they always have to account for the new seasonal buffs
too much damage,
as well.
Obviously. The rogues,
which can
rogues have also
sometimes
been extra
intentionally
combo
cause
points
other
via very
things
specific
to
unique
go
interactions.
whoosh.
That's made them very powerful. Twisting Blades, again on the rogue, and Poison Imbue have had some interactions that we're cleaning up that makes it do more damage than was intended. The Druid very recently kind of climbed to the top of the power level in the game due to kind of an unfortunate interaction with Blurred Beast, where you can double dip damage. And really, we've had a couple cases like this earlier in the game, so we're redesigning this legendary power, where you can kind of apply a dot, or some effect, and then something else does damage based on the dot, or some dealing damage on something else, and then that damage double dips, and then just goes into crazy town really quick.
Schmite just
So
sitting
we're
here
nipping that
like,
in the
why
bud.
did you locate all
For the
these nice
Barbarian, the
things and
Hammer of
weed
the
out?
Ancients, the Violent Hammer of the Ancients, which is one of the upgrades that you can get, was always being applied whether or not you had it.
Oh,
And we're
sorry,
cleaning that up, so
Schmite.
basically everybody would always take
One
the other
day.
upgrade, and then they were getting both.
One day.
And then Overpower, this is more of an oversight, not a bug, but it was kind of just too
though, we're
strong
more
in general.
likely to
If
get
you
a
remember when Season 2
Bethesda,
launched,
a Baldur's
we redid all
Gate
the combat math in the
developer
game, and back then
direct
Overpower,
stream than a
nobody was
Fallout
really
one, I
playing it.
think.
And then we really wanted to give it some love, and we definitely did. So it's a little
Coming
bit too
in the
strong
next
right now, and
patch.
so it's just getting toned down. And now next I want to talk about our season roadmap. Kind of, when we were talking about how
Look,
we
they've
think
even
about how
got a
often we should
roadmap,
update the game, we wanted to let you, the community, know kind of what the conclusions we came to and what we're going to be doing. So right now our plan is to update the game twice per season when it comes to class balance and really just class updates. We're going to do one update at the launch of a season where you're going to see more kind of large scale things.
Oh, they're doing a
that
mid-season
is kind of
update,
expected
okay.
to shift a little more.
Which
And then we
makes
also plan
sense.
to do a mid-season update, and that'll come somewhere around the center of the season, depending on the exact dates of the patch cycle. So you'll get a little bit smaller of an update there, but still something that'll,
Sorry, Rad.
do a bunch of buffs, and we're going to detail what you can expect from these.
I
So first, let's talk about season launch. and what
paused
you can
it,
expect when a
paused
new
them as
season
long
comes
as it
when
would
comes
let
to
me.
Classes and systems, so on balance. So
All
the
I can
first
do
thing
is
is we're
give a
going to be
heads
giving you
up.
some new content. You can count on this. We're going to be giving new legendaries and uniques that are added to the game.
Yeah, the meteor
The
unique.
amount that we do can be
Not like it
variable,
could
but
be
what
fun
we
to play
can
around
commit to
with.
is that every class should be getting something new in this space. So you can expect some amount of new legendaries and some
Everyone
amount of
gets
new
a little
uniques
bit
that'll
of
give you
love.
new toys to play with. Next, there are balance updates. We'll be doing both balance and
no, it was
design
just like
updates for
new
all the
games
classes.
coming
And by
this
design
year,
updates, I mean,
the,
some more in-depth
direct.
things where we change around functionality rather than just moving numbers up and down. Again, the amount is variable
Avowed
here.
is
It kind of
fall?
depends on the needs of the game at the time and how much other stuff that we're doing. But as a general idea, just so you can know what to expect, we plan to do many buffs to things that are underperforming, a few nerfs to the things that are really overperforming, and then bug fixes, which can honestly be both buffs or nerfs, depending on what the actual bug is. And then we also plan to do other game updates. Our team isn't really only just doing classes. We also look at monster balance and feel.
looking
We
at
do
drop rates
systems
again.
and drop rates and things like that. How quickly players can get
one
things
second,
that
I'll be
let
right
them
back.
have access to different types of content, all of that. So you can expect that at the beginning of a season. And then last but not least are larger updates and initiatives, right? These aren't guaranteed every season, but we want to launch these when they're ready. These are kind of, the big things that really shake up the game and change how players fundamentally interact with things. An example of some things here, or a couple things that we did in Season 2, we updated the resistance math and combat math to the game, and that was kind of a really big change of just how players interact with monsters and how they interact with their gear and stats and how they scale things. But we also do support for other things that might not seem so obvious, like content like Abattoir of Zir, where we have to go and look at the monsters, we have to look at the scaling, we have to when they do these things. So, we support all of those larger updates and initiatives as well, and you can expect these kinds of things going forward in seasons. But again, not every season. Just depends on when it's ready to come out. And next, let's talk about the mid-season patch and kind of what that looks like. So the first thing is we want to bring back previous season fan favorites. One of the nice things about a seasonal kind of model for a game is that we can experiment with things and then bring back the things that work. So an example of where we did this before was the Malignant Reigns. A lot of the Malignant Hearts in Season 1 had really cool designs that people really liked and got attached to. And we were able to bring that back in the form of unique reigns, right? Going forward, we think that the way that we bring back these designs could be legendaries, uniques, or even other ways, right? Like we can maybe just add it as Paragon nodes or passives or actives or other ways in skill tree. We don't really want to be limited to it must always be uniques or it must always be legendaries. But what we do want to limit ourselves to is that we definitely want to promise that we can do one thing per class. And we also think that we can pull from all seasonal designs, not only from the previous season, right? If the design of the power mechanic of a season doesn't really fit into something that's evergreen for players, then we don't want to be limited to trying to shoehorn it in. We may just bring back, maybe a lot of Malignant Hearts or a lot of Blood Seals people really got attached to. We don't want to be limited to like, oh, we can only bring back 4 or 5 things, and then we can never bring more. So we're just going to kind of look like what happened in the past and people liked, and then bring some of those things
You
back.
want more blood.
And then the balance updates, we also want to do this in the mid-season patch. The scope of this will be smaller compared to the beginning of the season. And we also want to do other game updates, you know, like I said before, to monster systems, drop rates, and some of those things. We also want to try mix in a lot of buffs for each class. And then we will be doing bug fixes, and these will be both buffs and nerfs. And we'll go into a little more detail of that in a minute.
Don't want them to be scared.
And then we're really going to try and hit this goal. No promises. These are famous last words for me, but you know, we want to try and do few to no nerfs that really aren't bugs.
A lot more
And our
communicate.
kind of
It seems
thinking
like
and
they learned from
philosophy
that
here is
first
that we
season
know
and they
that
communicate
unlike
a
the
lot
beginning
more
of a
now,
season,
which is good.
players spent a lot of time farming for these things, and we don't want you to be scared of making powerful stuff and then knowing that we're going to take it away if it's too strong,
sets.
right?
Yeah, that's something
And we
we
want
don't
to have a
at
sense
the
of
moment,
permanence
right?
when you start a
And
season that you can
3.
try and target something that's cool
And 2.
and then finish it. But you know, sometimes we need to if something's way too far out of
More
control,
individual
particularly now that we have the
more
gauntlet
individual
coming in.
powerful items
And
that
our
combine
plan is to
together
really
in
broadcast the
4,
nerfs,
hasn't it?
whether they're design or bug fixes, before the mid-season update, so that you have an idea of what's coming, so that you can adjust your builds and play accordingly. So now let's give a couple examples here of kind of, you know, if these things had existed in Season 3 and beyond, how would we think about and how would we handle these in a mid-season patch? So, you know, in Season 2, like I mentioned before, the Hammer of the Ancients, this upgrade, Violent Hammer of the Ancients, was just always being applied, right? Basically, overpower builds were just getting 30% more multiplicative damage for free. It was a bug, not intended at all. This is something
cute.
that we would
Sounds
fix in a
like,
mid-season
they
patch.
might have
So,
been
like, if this happened in
pre-planned
Season
then.
3, you could expect that in the mid-season patch, we would bug fix this, and, you know, that would be a nerf to that build. On the other hand, a little bit more complicated one. So if you remember Ossified Essence, you Necromancer players, this was your key passive, and it was really, really, really good. It basically says that your bone skills deal more damage based on each point of essence you have above 50. The gameplay here that we had intended was, you know, you try and
No
increase your mass
pressure
essence, which is a
Just
fun
couple
little
thousand
itemization
people
game that you
watching.
have. But then you also have some gameplay of trying to only cast and then get back to max as soon as you can. So you care about resource regen. Like, there's all these cool gameplay and itemization things going on. What we didn't anticipate, though, was that players would get as much max essence as they were able to, or that they were able to keep it as high as they were able to. And those were really just oversights on our part. So then in Season 2, you know, we nerfed this by 50%, a whopping 50%. And I still think this is probably one of the strongest key passives in the game. That's how good it was. It's really good.
40 fat. Oh my god.
But, you know, it
Yeah,
still
no
keeps all the
pressure.
gameplay that it had before. So what if this existed in Season 3? Well, here,
How can you say no?
this would kind of
in
be more of a
situation
question mark
like
for us.
that?
We
So, yeah,
may
I'm
fix it in the
assuming it
mid-season
was,
patch. We would definitely fix it at the
I'm
start of next
assuming they
season.
knew they were
But
gonna say,
technically,
yeah.
this isn't a bug. It's just something that is just really strong that we kind of had an oversight about. Here, we would be looking at, you know, community feedback. How badly is it warping the meta? Are other builds in Necromancer really
it's a
not able to
potential
function at all
nerf.
because this one is so much better? We'd be looking at more things like that are qualitative types of feedback, and then make a judgment call there. And, you know, in these cases, this is where it gets really noodly. Sometimes we may be wrong, but we're going to really try and lean on the side of not changing unless we really feel like it's needed to keep the game healthy. So, again, kind of a recap, a TLDR. First, our strategy here with players is to communicate early and communicate often. We want to let you know, particularly when it comes to nerfs, what's coming and really what we're thinking. And then again, at the start of the season, you can expect some new content in the form of legendaries and uniques. We'll also be getting some more in-depth balance updates, including design updates to things that we feel we could do better at. Lots of buffs, few nerfs, but bug fixes that are both buffs and nerfs to keep the game in a healthy state. And then in the mid-season patch, you get new content in the form of previous fan favorites from other seasons. And then we will be doing a balance patch. It'll be a bit smaller. It'll be mostly buffs, and then bug fixes that are both buffs and nerfs. And hopefully few to no design nerfs is what we're going to try and commit to. And so again, the reason why we're doing this is we really want you to know kind of where we're thinking, and we want to try and commit to concrete things when we can. And this is something that we feel we can commit to you.
Yeah, because it's true with that first patch before the first season was.
Again, last thing
we got
is
a lot
that
of big
we are
nerfs,
open
but
to
there
feedback
wasn't
on
much
this. This isn't
communication
set in
about them.
stone that forevermore
That was
will
kind
be
of where it went wrong.
2 updates per season when it comes to balance. We're trying to find that right amount of time where you feel like you can experiment and have fun, but the same thing isn't strong forever. So, you know, please give us your feedback. Let us know what you think. But this is how we're going to start, and then we're going to go from here. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adam, for going over all the balance changes coming for Season 3, along with the roadmap, which is really important. And so that's a big thing that we will make sure we do, is obviously communicate often, communicate early, specifically about all the balance changes that may occur with the start of a season, and of course with that mid-season patch. And just for like like better understanding within the community. If you follow version numbers of our updates, because we usually do client patches with big patches, usually mid-season patches land around the 0.3 variant of a patch if you want to go specifically in that. We do have a lot of other quality of life items that are also coming within Season 3 that we do want to get into before we jump into Q&A. And we did want to tackle some of these because these are really big and these are based off of players and what they're telling us. And of course, things and improvements that we've already talked about beforehand that are now actually coming into Diablo 4. One big thing that I know that we mentioned in one of our prior streams with a campfire chat, Mr. Joe Shelley, our game director, actually brought up, which was Helltides. Helltides was something we learned within Season 2 and Season of Blood is everyone really enjoyed Blood Harvest, and Blood Harvest was always up. Helltides, though, were kind of timed in specific moments, and Helltides was something that we wanted to improve upon for players, and now Helltides will actually be up pretty much all the time, so players will be able to actually jump into Helltides whenever they need to. There is a 5-minute break to kind of reset the zone and stuff, but every hour you will be able to jump into a Helltide, which is great. So it's more opportunities to earn cinders, and of course more opportunities to earn and obtain loot, or even things like living steel and stuff to kind of go through the Uber boss ladder, which is great. The other thing is, and this is a controversial topic because I don't know how people actually pronounce this, but I've always called it WASD. Other people call it WASD. Some people call it WASD.
We need a poll up.
I almost want to put a poll up within Twitch chat. Maybe you guys can chime in here and let me know what you prefer calling it. I'm going to call it WASD, but WASD controls are coming to Diablo 4. This is actually something we talked about way back at the launch of the game. We heard a lot of players asking specifically for additional control opportunity or options for them, and this actually is a great feature that Drew, I know, who's on the D4 team. Shout out to Drew. I know he's watching, and he's here in this office. But at least for WASD, it offers more accessibility options for players, which is great to see. So WASD controls are going to be in Diablo 4, and this is something we've been talking about.
We're also really lucky it came online just as we were putting all those hazards in the dungeons.
Exactly.
So now, the players have even more precise control to avoid.
WASD feels very good with the traps.
WASD, however you want to pronounce it, that is going to be
They like WASD.
Chat likes WASD according to Rich.
It's okay to be wrong.
But yeah, it is coming to the game. And what's really great about this as well is that it is customizable. You can actually change things out and stuff if you'd like. So really happy to see it, and we're happy to hear feedback from players and their experiences with it once they jump into Season 3. And then, of course, we have a new respec mode coming to the skill trees.
Yes.
This is respecing on skill trees has always been a little difficult, and now there's a more optimized way of being able to do so. Another big community item that a lot of players have been asking for. This kind of goes hand in hand with the opportunity of actually taking your whole Paragon board and completely resetting it before, as opposed to doing it one by one that we had beforehand.
It's a lot less
there's more opportunities to actually respec and do it in a much more organized fashion with this. And then this has been a huge one. This is specifically for console players. I probably get this question maybe once every single day about gold trading. Obviously, more gold is in the Diablo 4 economy or ecosphere with Season, especially since Season 2. And for console users, trading gold has been very difficult.
I guess they had some funky-dunky UI over on the console side.
You could be there for quite a while trying to trade a significant amount of gold. And so the gold trading UI has been updated for console users, so they'll be able to actually trade gold without having to maybe spend 5 to 10 minutes doing so in one trade. So I know that is a big thing that players have been asking for, so we're happy that's actually being included. And then this one is also kind of calling back to what Joe Shelley had brought up in a prior campfire chat, which was higher item scaling in World Tier 4. I think he used a really good example of how world bosses was kind of like, hey, you get 925 gear off of them, and at times it feels like maybe that's like the most optimized way of doing it, and it didn't feel very rewarding in other types of activities such as like Nightmare Dungeons, for example. So higher item scaling in World Tier 4 is actually coming into Season 3 and going forward for Diablo 4. So even when you're doing like higher Nightmare Dungeons, you're going to have way more opportunities of actually obtaining eye level 925 gear, as opposed to before, where it was a much lower chance, and it felt like you should be doing other types of activities beforehand. So making sure that there's more options available, as opposed to just kind of pigeonholing yourself into maybe timed world bosses and stuff like that from that end. And then this one is a point of feedback that we've gotten from a lot of players. And this is something that, we kind of optimized within Season 2 last year. Things like the Living Steel buff based off of community feedback was really big. And so we're actually increasing opportunities to earn the Beast and Ice summoning items. So this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier in our stream, where with the boss ladder, there will be more opportunities for players to kind of jump into those. So there will be additional summoning items for Beast and Ice, which will then, of course, help you eventually get to Uberduriel. And this goes hand in hand with some of the Living Steel buffs that we ended up doing in Season 2 within Helltide. So a lot of quality of life updates, and there's additional ones that players will end up seeing within the patch notes that will be releasing tomorrow. So you should check out the patch notes. They'll be hitting on Diablo4.com. Specifically for all the details and all the items that even Adam Jackson was talking about earlier. Now we come to the part where I always mess up names, but actually before we do that, I'm breaking order. Our wonderful production group here is going to be like, "What's wrong with you, Adam?" One thing I did want to call out is we actually have a new promo for Twitch starting with Season 3, and that is our Support a Streamer promo. We had the Support a Streamer for Season 1. We have it again for Season 2. It is a new amount that players can actually earn. This time it's different. Before we only had a select group of streamers. I think it was like around like 2,000 streamers that signed up and opted in. Now it's for any streamer that streams Diablo 4.
Oh,
thank you, Twitch, for making the engineering updates to allow for it to be just across the whole entire category. Any streamer that is streaming Diablo 4, if you're a viewer and you happen to be watching them, you can either purchase a sub from them or gift a sub to a total of 2. So it could be 1 gifted, 1 purchase, or 2 gifted, and you'll actually end up earning the amount as well. You just need to make sure that your Battle.net account is actually linked with your Twitch account, and you are watching a participating Diablo 4 streamer. It'll note it on their channels and stuff for you to earn that amount. So that is coming, and there'll be a blog later today about that specific Twitch supporter streamer program that's going to be launching with the start of Season 3 on January 23rd. So make sure to check it out, and I believe it's actually going to be running for quite a while, like a month or so. So players will be able to kind of take part in that from their end. But now our favorite part, which is the Q&A, and we're actually going to be going back and forth between Irvine and here in Albany, because Adam Jackson, of course, is still with us to answer any specific questions related to class and class balance that players may have. But I know one question that as we queue up questions specifically from our side and have my live feed right here, we'll attempt to not butcher names. Maybe I will.
Skip the QA for today. But overall, seems good. Oh, they also tweeted you can pet the construct. You know, the little construct spider pet. You can pet it. So we got a symbiance of pets that we can pet. I feel like that's the most important note, isn't it? You can pet the construct. That's the content we like to see. Pet the spider robot kitty. So we'll probably take a quick look at that next week when it starts. Yeah. And whenever we stream it, you can get a mount as well through subs. Hey Armor, how you doing? Hope you're well. Welcome. How's it going? I hope you're good. What was everyone's favorite thing from the developer direct today? I think I'm excited for Avowed, but it's not what I thought it was going to be, which isn't necessarily bad. I'm just not entirely convinced by it yet, I think. It's something I'm interested to play, but I'm not super hyped for right now. You hope it picks up... I don't think it does, sadly. I think it just fights with you. Reminded you... Wait. In a bad graphical sense? Or... there was Avowed. Mana? Which look cute, but it's on Xbox. I don't know if it's going to be on the Switch. Indiana Jones, and then that Civilization-esque game. So Indiana Jones, for you. Like a game that was overlooked, that you felt was better than people realized. But it's not even out yet. The only thing that was weird in the Avowed trailer was the dialogue part, where it looked like someone was holding a TV interview with the camera angles, and I don't know if that was intentionally supposed to be ironic in that particular scene, and that the other cutscenes aren't like that, but it felt a little off. And so that was kind of weird. We didn't get much look into the dialogue overall, though. But it seemed very... Like, dialogue UI and options-wise seemed very Obsidian, at least. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what game you're talking about, I'm afraid. But I'd be interested to explore that world. The combat looked fun. Indiana Jones, I was excited for until they announced it was in first person. I understand what they're going for with it, but accessibility-wise, it poses a problem in the poor realm of motion sickness, sadly. If there was an ability to switch between first and third, it would be much more playable for me, but it's one of those where I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to stream it because of that. Because there's going to be a lot of shaky camera and swinging. Those are the parts that I'm kind of worried about with Indiana Jones. So I'll have to kind of wait and see. Yeah, I honestly thought it was going to be more in third person, that game, when they first announced it, but yeah, no, it seems like it's first person. It's like the older I get, the worse the motion sickness gets too. That's why games like Baldur's Gate have been really comfortable for me lately, because it doesn't trigger that at all. So I don't need to mess around with really any settings. It's just comfortable to play for hours. You do want some more throwable weapons would be nice in Fallout, yeah. Yeah, we don't have much variety right now. When are they gonna get a direct? I have to say that because Schmite went to bed. Some light combos and visual... Yeah, I mean, that's another thing that, you know, accessibility setting-wise, that, you know, you would hope they can cater towards in 2024 and beyond. Accessibility settings are so important. They really can make a difference between whether someone can play that game or not. And there's no reason to not have those accessibility settings in your game. So they tried, but they made it worse. Oh dear. Like colorblind settings, that's one that should be pretty much in every game. Especially MMOs. MMOs really need, like, those colorblind settings, because if you can't see the red circle, how do you know if you're stepping in it? You don't. So being able to change those colors is always really important. There's not really any downsides, unless they do the accessibility settings wrong. Generally, there's no downside to them because it's optional options anyway, you know? Doesn't impede other people's gameplay. It just makes it so more people can play your game. So it'll be interesting to see how those accessibility tools develop as well over time. And get better. Diablo did pretty good with their accessibility settings for 4. Baldur's Gate seemed to have a lot too. I didn't really need to utilize them, but it was there was a chunky amount of stuff in that section. Yes, yeah. So even if you're not colorblind, but they're just difficult for you to see, you can change the colors too. Yeah. Can only play for long sessions, not short sessions. Hey, Kangaroo, how's it going? Been a while since we had a Doom game. Doom is very fast-paced. Well, the last one was. But I feel like generally that's how it should be. Not too bad, yeah, not too bad. But there's some exciting stuff coming this year. I think a lot of our Baldur's Gate playthroughs should probably bring us into the season where the new games start coming out. So time-wise, we've got a pretty good schedule frame, I think. Thank you, Kangaroo. Guess we got Dark Urge, No Resist coming up, Shadowheart, Origin coming up, Karlak coming up, all cosplays. Alongside our current Starion and Bardtav playthroughs. I've got to fit Alan Wake in at some point. I am considering leaving Alan Wake for Halloween, because I think it could be a fun one to play then. We could do a silly Alan cosplay or something. Draw a beard on or something for that. Alan plays Alan Wake. I think you'd like it, Arma. It's good. I've heard good things, and I want to know where this musical, because the only thing I've seen really of it is that musical, and I want to see where that fits into things. So yeah, I think it could be a really fun one for Halloween, that, for sure. Because I heard it's spooky. Spooky, spooky. And it'd fit in with Halloween, dressing as Alan as a Halloween costume too. I don't know if there are any really prominent female characters in that game, but I think if you're gonna do a cosplay for Alan Wake, maybe Alan's the way to go. You can totally do that, Armor. Yeah. Yeah. Whether they can throw a character or not is dependent on their strength and that other character's weight. Like Karlak, if, you give her a strength potion, she can throw a star in, no problem. I might have tested that last stream. Might have chucked him down some stairs. I wanted to chuck him at the enemy to get the achievement, but we weren't close enough, so I just really wanted to toss him to see what would happen, so I just chucked him downstairs instead. And he got dazed, but it was worth it. We're going to be fully aware of every aspect about Baldur's Gate 3 and kind of... Well, I mean, once you play it, you will, though. You know? Once you play it, you will. There's just so much replayability in that game, and now the modding community is really vibrant for it too.
I will.
Oop. There's some really great mods and some really wacky stuff coming out for it too. Like people keep giving Astarion guns and lightsabers. weapons he'd, you know, there's 99% chance he'd just end up hurting himself with. And probably other people in the team. More than the enemies. Yeah, I don't get the feeling right now that this year is going to be as hype as last year in terms of games coming out, but I mean, last year was one of those years that only comes every once in a while, where you get just an amazing batch of games dropped on you all at once, you know, Cyberpunk DLC, Alan Wake, Baldur's Gate, Starfield, very, very rare. Oh, the Zelda game. Oh, I've not heard of that. Nightingale? Oh, what else was it? Oh, Liza P? I heard good things about Liza P as well. I think that was a Korean developer, right? I haven't, no, I don't know what Power World is. First time hearing about it. Oh, it's Pokemon. It's Pokemon with guns, okay. Alright, I feel like I've got a good image for that now, then. Oh, Game Pass. I see. Well, today was a shorter stream. Because today's usually my day off. I've got some work on VOD content planned for today. And before our weekend streams begin tomorrow. So tomorrow, there'll be a little bit of Fallout before we dive into the Baldur's Gate weekend. We've got probably one more Cyberpunk stream left, and then Wednesdays is, according to the votes in the Discord, also going to be a Baldur's Gate day with all the playthroughs we've got planned. Body, hi! Thank you so much for the tier-free sub. I do appreciate it. Thank you so, so much. How are you? I hope you're well. Welcome, welcome. It's good to see you. Thank you. We were just talking about the games we're excited to see. After watching that developer direct together. But thank you so much, everybody, for joining me on a unusual day. As we don't usually stream on Fridays, but it was nice and chill. And we got to see some really cool trailers for games together. Yeah, like I said, there will be a stream tomorrow, 5 PM ET, the usual time, for some Fallout, making my way through that season, and we'll be helping everyone with their dailies and weeklies too. We have currently the Shadowheart Ko-fi goal is active, so any tips this month and likely next month too will go towards that, which is like, I'm thinking it's just based on when things can get here by, end of February to March, perhaps timeline for Shadowheart popping, but it kind of depends on when we finish the current playthroughs as well, and then Karlach will be sometime after that. So that would be our schedule there. Lots of Baldur's Gate the first half of the year. Lots of VOD content coming too, as I'm working on quite a few different videos at the same time right now. Ko-fi and YouTube subs will get sneak peeks on those before anyone else. Thank you, Anya. It's almost the 20th already. Can you believe it? So yeah, and then I don't know what we're gonna do. There might be some extra streams in February, just because It's the Doom month. So we might do extra streams for that. The last stream, so I believe technically the last stream will be on the 26th, because I think the 27th midnight is when things kick in. So, the 27th might be the last Twitch stream. The FAQ isn't too clear on that, though. I'm going to probably contact support and ask for sure. So we can kind of, you know, rein it in, so to speak. 18? Hope it helps. But yeah, I think maybe doing some extra streams in February, because it'll be such short time left then. Might be good. And then we take it from there. I talked a little bit about the email I got this week from Twitch as well. They added 3 more streaming services to their list of places they're going to help. They're all Korean streaming services. One of them's in beta, which is Chiswick. The other 2 are not really gaming streaming platforms. One of them had a lot of 19+ streams and a dirty magazine that it produces. The other was just chatting and dancing. But when you go to the pages to, you know, onboard from Twitch, it does not explain, it doesn't tell you really that it's that kind. They kind of give you this allure of it being a gaming streaming platform, but I didn't see much gaming going on there. It was very specific type of streams that they were catering to. Yes, they have, yeah. Yeah, when you typed in that streamer name, stream site name into Naver, it was just a bunch of dirty magazine covers. So I don't know if it's related to the actual, I mean, it seems like it is, because I'm assuming, you know, they got a brand name. But it definitely seemed to have a lot more naughty content than you tend to find on, a little bit more than you even tend to find on Twitch. Yeah, so that surprised me. I thought they were all gaming, like more, you know, focused on gaming, but the last 2 were not. And that email kind of confirmed they're only really helping people move to Korean platforms too. Yeah, naughty content. Yeah. Which is, you know, it's fine that there is a place for that, you know. There always will be. It's just an odd place to direct people from Twitch, I guess, I felt. You do it often in July, sitting on the porch, right? Yeah, I don't know. I try to get in touch with Dan to see if there's anything that can be done to help. Because it's not just me. There's a lot of people in my situation who, you know, haven't been able to transition to YouTube and are really struggling with even that part of it. But there's just no support for those of us who aren't going to those platforms. But the problem is, 3 out of 4 of those platforms have a bad reputation. Like, people will assume you make certain type of content. The only reason Chiswick doesn't have that is because it's so new and it's beta. So you have to sign up and it's not guaranteed you can get in right now because they're not fully operational. But also they're not global at the moment, so everything's in Korean. So if you have a global community, they're going to really struggle navigating that website. Africa TV says it's going to go global, but I don't know. I I mean, from a business standpoint, I kind of understand why they would just leave us in the dust, because, you know, we'd be moving people away from Twitch that otherwise won't be moving, whereas if your audience is predominantly Korean, those people are going anyway. They're not losing anything they're not already losing. But the problem is they promised help. And to leave those of us with a global audience in the dust feels unfair. I worry it's intentional. It's hard. The more, like, us asking, trying to get answers, you know, and it's not just me. Other streamers also trying to get answers and just falling on deaf ears does make it feel like it's intentional. I know, global with that user interface, there's no directory. But every single website I looked at except Naver had the same layout. Like, they were all using the same similar source code, and they all had the same issue where there wasn't really a sense of a directory. It was like, all Star BJ, billiards, esports, and then that's it. Well, yeah, it's absolutely intentional to transition streamers only to non-competitors. That's kind of how it feels. So I think a lot of us are, you know, and I've spoken to some other streamers who are in the same boat and just feeling very lost and forgotten about. And I feel like because we have that global community that aren't going to be losing Twitch, we're going to be hit harder too. You know, we're more likely to lose more of our community. I know, realistically, the chances of getting even half my community over to YouTube is very slim. So it's very similar to starting all over again. Yeah, abandoned. Which sucks when you spent 6 years building a community here and supporting the website. You know, and they've been taking 50% of your earnings. Yeah, YouTube, Apple, yeah. Yeah, YouTube is the main place we're going to be streaming from. I'm hoping in the future we can do multi-stream on TikTok, but we still have to build TikTok up, which is going to be a process. But the main place will be YouTube after Twitch Korea shuts down, yeah. Because I know, like, some of the bigger streamers who have a global audience here, they're having to just, you know, move country. Luckily, some of them are in a position where they can, but not all of them are, you know? And even there, they don't seem to be getting much support from Twitch either, you know? Despite being figureheads of the website here. Which is crazy. But there's, you know, we might be a minority, but there's a surprising amount of us who do cater more towards a global audience. That it's weird we're being ignored. I feel like they decided certain streamers will be collateral damage and that the blowback isn't enough for them to be justified to putting a safety net. That's how it feels, yeah. Especially when, you know, we keep trying to get clearer answers and ask for help and it just falls on deaf ears. Yeah, it does feel more like that, unfortunately. It certainly makes it more frustrating, Pat, yeah. It's just a whole situation. And it's January, they still haven't updated the FAQ with information that we really need. A lot of information was on downstream, but people who missed it can't access it. Do you know why? Because we can't access VODs in Korea. So that FAQ, if you missed it and you weren't there when it was live, then you don't know half the information you said there, because it ain't in the FAQ. Like, they're going to really hammer down on people who still try to stream here with, like, VPNs and stuff. And that they're going to put implementations in place to stop us from streaming in the country. So if you come visit Korea, you won't be able to stream either while you're visiting Korea. That's not even mentioned in the FAQ. Just they're going to shut down monetization. So some people think that we'll still be able to stream because of that. But according to what Dan said, that is not possible. But again, some people won't know because they can't access the VODs. And again, the time that everything, like when is the, and we know when we're losing monetization, but when is that the same day that we can't, you know, we'll be blocked from streaming? What time exactly does that happen? We don't know. Frequently absent questions, yeah. And it's January. We're approaching like almost a month until the shutdown, and there's just so many missing questions there. The thing for me is when it happens to your channel, when you're permanently offline, like, are they gonna just close the chat up so things can't spam it? Like, what's gonna go on there? Do we have to get our mods to just, you know, keep track of it? Ugh. If I move back to home at some point, would I be able to access my channel and get everything back? Or are they just gonna nuke it? We don't know. Because, you know, people in my situation, there's a chance maybe one day we would, you know, move somewhere else. We certainly can't do it in 2 months. But maybe one day we would, so we'd want to access that channel again, right? The FAQ is not 100% clear on that. Or whether or not you can get partnership back, or if you'd have to work for it again. I worked very hard to get partner, and it was quite a few months of stress, to the point where when we got it, I couldn't really enjoy it much because I was so stressed. So having that taken away kind of sucks. Like Pat and Bob, especially, will remember that period. Wow. And what we were dealing with at the time while it was happening. I wouldn't want to go through that again. Hey, how you doing, Stephanie? I appreciate that. Thank you so much. That is very kind of you. It does fill me with a smidge more hope when people say that, for sure. Because I know, even for big streamers, you know, they're, like I said, they're lucky to get even half their audience moving if they move platform. So, the smaller you are, the more that decreases. So, at times I feel like I have to apologize if I've seemed overwhelmingly negative about certain things, but it's hard to balance being positive about a situation like this while also staying realistic. Because I feel like if I go into it with the positive mindset of everybody's going to come over and everything's going to be fine, I'm likely going to end up in a situation where, you know, that's not the reality, and things become difficult to maintain because I hadn't had the foresight to plan ahead for that, you know? So, while I wish it wasn't the case, I do know that realistically, it's going to be very similar to starting again. We're going to have less than half going over because it's an entire platform change, and I've got to prepare for that. Hi, Crimson, I hope you're well. I already subbed and notified on YouTube, and that's actually how I knew the stream was happening first today. People have been telling me that the YouTube notifications are way better than Twitch's. Like, they're actually getting notifications about my streams coming. Whereas on Twitch, it's like the next day. And this has happened. Like, I've seen Kenny get a notification saying I'm streaming, and it's my day off, and I'm not streaming. I streamed the day before. Yeah, drunk, Twitch. Yeah, drunk. It's both. Well, it's mostly, The ISP and government charges for foreign streaming companies are what propelled the decision, but ultimately Twitch decided to shut down Twitch Korea because they're cutting costs this year. And we are part of that cost cutting. So, you know, they recently laid off 35% of their staff. We're part of that. They fired 35% of their staff in an entire country. Thank you so much. For those of you who, you know, maybe you're just hearing about this for the first time now. That's where we are on YouTube, Atomic Munchkin. I lurk a bunch here, but I just want to say I'm really sad for you, and I know that you've worked hard for what you built and sending all the love and support. Thank you so much, NJ. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's, I don't know. I think it's hit me a bit more. I didn't really get to, the problem when the announcement came is I didn't get to process it because it happened live. So, you know, we were streaming, we had a show to run, and that kind of got interrupted. We were doing there was new Fallout content, we were doing a sponsored stream, and we got that info. So there wasn't much time to sort of mentally process everything that was going on. So for a few weeks, I just was able to happily sit in denial and carry on. But as January hit, I think that got a bit harder. Yeah. So now I'm in the anger phase, mostly. But anger directed more towards Twitch and the government. Oh, we were just talking about the Twitch career situation, Grind. Oh. It should be Twitch career. Why is it not working? Maybe it's maybe it doesn't work if it's a reply. I think it's because it's a reply. It's finicky. Yeah, there we go. It's like, it has to be on its own or I'm not doing it. We did come close friends, though, through that whole partnership ordeal, Pat. Yeah, that's true. Setting yourself for a depressive episode by counting your roses and ignoring the wilted daffodils at your feet. Darwin, thank you so much for the 100 biddies. I appreciate that. Yeah. That's definitely been one of the negative sides of January hitting. I think just knowing we've got, like, just over a month left. Yeah. So, the shorts kind of slowed down a bit because I've just been pretty exhausted lately. I'm trying to get back to a sort of momentum with everything, because I know I have to. But I'm also just so exhausted at the same time. And I think it's more of a mental drain. Because I could, you know, I've got to that point where you can sleep like 8+ hours, but I have energy for the stream, and then I'm just emotionally spent after that. Which makes it hard to do all the other stuff I need to do, because YouTube's an entirely different beast. Downsizing is a sign of a thriving company. Nope, we know it. Yeah, and just in 2024, you wouldn't expect an entire, especially the esports capital of the world, to get nuked like this. You really wouldn't. But it is what it is. I just hope I can, you know, one thing, it was weird because just before we got the announcement, you know, I'd shifted up my content a little bit. I started doing a lot more Baldur's Gate. Found something I really enjoyed doing. And I was kind of like getting my momentum back from streaming after having a bit of a sort of period where I was feeling lost with it, and then this happened. And it was like, of course! You know, you can't have 5 minutes of happiness without just a nuke coming your way, it seems. So, I don't know. I hope I can continue still doing what I want to do on YouTube. But I also know it's very different. Different things do well there that do well on Twitch. There's just so much more to learn. I mean, that's kind of what it was like. Yeah. It was like a week before my birthday, too. When we found out. And every time I talk about the situation on Twitter, you like the amount of... There's been people, a lot of people have been very nice, but there's been a lot of very sexist tweets as well. Directed towards me because I've been, you know, just due to the situation. So I've had to deal with that on top of the general stress the situation causes too. Which has been not fun. I mean, to be fair, on that platform though, Johnny, I would expect the chat to be similar to some of those tweets I've been getting, which is another reason why it's not really an option for me. That and the community generally telling me they don't feel comfortable there. It's really bad, yeah. And if you report tweets like that, they're like, oh, this doesn't break our guidelines. When they sent you like a pornographic GIF that you did not want to see. Well, you can moderate. I mean, you can only block on Twitter. That's pretty much as far as moderating you can do. I don't think it does anymore, Pat. Yeah, I don't think it does have any guidelines, to be fair. It does sound. It does, Bob. It does sound like a naughty site, and I think he knows that. You can moderate, but the problem is the type of streamers that they endorse. I'm not. How to word it? Not the people I feel comfortable supporting, I suppose is the best way to say it. And when you put people like that up on a pedestal on your platform, it represents your entire platform and how people view it. And that's one of the issues they've got over there, I think, is the type of content they endorse. But, yeah. Anyway, it's been a day. But we saw some lovely trailers, and there's a lot to look forward to this year, despite it all, at least. Well, an esports, yeah. Game is an esports, right? It seems like Naver Chizik's gonna take over the esports, coverage, and Chiswick and Africa TV are probably gonna fight for that. Why did this conversation make me think of Kate in a bob suit as a solution to some of these sites? In a bob suit? Why have we turned Bob into a suit? Is Bob aware of this? I feel like Bob needs to know. I don't know. I'm slightly confused, slightly disturbed, slightly worried. Why is Bob being skinned? I don't know, Pat. I don't know where your brain is. Thank you, Kangaroo. All we can hope for right now is that, you know, maybe one door closes, one door opens, right? I'm very grateful to everyone who's helped us get partnership over there. I'm still in the verification process because it's taking so long. Like, you have to wait for something to come to your house and verify that way before you can even verify your bank account and things. But hopefully that's going to be ready by the end of February. So it's one less thing to worry about, at least. But yeah, I'm very thankful for everyone who helped with that, because I didn't think it would be possible to do that as quickly as we did, but with the community's help, we were able to. Oh, platforms come and go, but a person is for a lifetime. Oh, I know, I saw that, and I saw that article, and it brought me a whole new wave of anxiety, Arma. Because I don't have, my choice is very slim right now. Of course, because you're at work, Pat. But that's it's a whole topic for another time, that. I mean, the plus side, when we go to YouTube, I can up the bitrate quality, so you should get much smoother streams than you had on Twitch. Because they allow a higher bitrate, so... They did mention, I think when you're partnered, if someone has YouTube Premium, that you still get ad revenue from that. Kind of like how with Twitch Prime you do. And what's it, Turbo? Oh, it was a user error. Oh, okay, I didn't see an update to that article, right. Okay, well that... Sadly, I think the first article got out and not the second then. So people still think it's the first, I'm guessing, yeah. Uh-oh. I can watch Kay at work. There are worse jobs. I'm glad we can hang out while you're at work. But yeah, so speaking of VOD content, I got a fair amount of work to do today. So I can try and get those Baldur's Gate videos out for everybody as soon as possible. I'm working hard on them. Just fighting a lot of brain goo right now, and difficulties due to the whole, trying to balance the whole Twitch career situation and all the mental drain that's coming from that at the same time. So I do apologize for the delays on those. But yeah. Hopefully they're coming soon. I filmed a lot of footage. It's just a case of compiling everything really right now. Even got a brand new SSD for the streaming computer so I can edit over there. And save, because it didn't have much room before, so that was another hurdle I faced. I don't know. Adverts I get it's regional, so it's hard for me to comment on that. You can double dip because premium pays between creators you watch, and you watch more of you than most things. Yeah, I have YouTube Premium, and I got it free with my phone subscription. But I think I will renew it, even if I didn't have to move to YouTube, because I've just enjoyed its features more than I thought I would. So I do quite like YouTube Premium. It was one of those things I didn't think I needed or wanted until I got it, and then I was like, oh, this is actually quite nice. Footage, not foodage. No feed, just no, like game clips. Game clips. And don't worry, Dark Urge Tav is gonna be in some of those videos. The one everyone likes from Discord. He's gonna be featured at least in the first video. I filmed quite a lot of the strategy fights with him. No, I know what you mean, Pat. Yeah, a lot of the video and streaming sites are making some very questionable decisions lately. It's making makes things harder. Okay, Jenny. What was that? You just licked my hair. Boop. She is. What? She wants something. She does that kind of thing at me when she wants something, but she's not being clear about what it is. Food, treats. Something between food and treats, right? She's like, yes. That was the thing we were talking about, where apparently someone else said that was a user error of them having multiple blockers on at the same time. But I only saw the first article, so if that was the case, it's not being cleared out properly on around the interweb. Yeah, I found cats tend to do it when they want food from you. Or treats. Oop. That would definitely be something to report then, Armor. I get different adverts to you though, so it's hard for me to comment on it. He does that too when she wants treats. Yeah, I think it must be like universal gimme treats. Yeah, if you have like the phone app for YouTube, especially Premium, is very useful, isn't it? Because you can like listen to things without the app, window, on. So you can like do other things at the same time. Or like have YouTube Music on. I think you get access to YouTube Music with it, yeah, and you can have it like on while you're doing other stuff, which is nice. Pay money to avoid? They do have a report system for adverts, though, as far as I'm aware. From what I remember. Your nose is wet today. Oh my goodness, Pat! Thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships to Lunar, Fabio, Cafe, Tylo, Zad. Welcome to the family. I appreciate it. I hope you're having a good one. Thank you so much. Yeah, because I don't really use Spotify. I just use YouTube Music now. You block Origin on ad blockers, it seems. I mean, yeah, that would definitely be something to bring up with YouTube Armor. Like I said, you know, I'm in a different region. I get completely different adverts, and I don't have any power there, I'm afraid. I'm still very new to the platform. My choices are slim. Everyone felt more comfortable with YouTube, so... You know, YouTube and TikTok were really the only options. TikTok takes a lot longer to set up. You need 1,000 followers first there. But not many people in our community use TikTok. Because we're all old. I see the, yeah, when you do the heart thing, I see it. I think it's pretty instant as well. I think I see it as you're clicking it, which is kind of cool. Because the reactions for Twitch I can't see. I actually can't see them at all because we don't have VODs. It lets you do it, but I don't see anything. Back in my day, we had Vines. I vaguely remember Vine. I feel Vine came and then it went really, really quickly. Her face right now. You can't see it, but she's like... Okay? Why is she... What is that face? You okay? Hi, Angelina. Oh... It just disappeared, didn't it? Oh, it was a threat to Instagram, so, somehow TikTok, wasn't, yeah. Maybe because it ended up being more popular. Hey, Zero. Yeah, she was like... I don't know why. Yeah, so we need to... I'm sure we can use, like... Well, I've got to find a good place to do overlays first for YouTube. That's the problem. There's less services that are alternatives to Streamlabs and Stream Elements for YouTube than there are for Twitch. That's another problem I'm facing that I got to figure out before February. But we'll see. But yes, we'll wrap things up now. Thank you so much, everyone, for just having a nice chill hangout day today. For this short stream. I will be back tomorrow at 5 PM ET. We'll probably raid out tomorrow, and not today. Just casually end today, I think. The revenue sharing for YouTube Tier 1s also encourages gifting, too. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things about YouTube 70% over 50 is... Turns out a significant difference. Have a lovely rest of your day, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow for some Fallout before the Baldur's Gate weekend begins. And we bring out those cosplays. Darwin, thank you for the 100 biddies. I appreciate it. Have an absolutely wonderful night, everybody. Yeah, I don't know if we'll be able to keep the VOD on YouTube for today's stream. There's a good chance it depends on if anything copyright pings. They did mention that. So oh, Jenny, your bum's on the thingy. She's skipping through the video to give you some a recap on Diablo there. But I will see you all tomorrow. I'll be around on the Discord today while I'm doing stuff. Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for hanging out. See you later. Oh.